What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Stephen from Coffeezilla here, or as you may know me, Senior 100K. My testosterone levels are through the roof. We're approaching Dan Pena levels soon.
What did you do? This is what you should do.
So pretty excited about that. But today I just wanted to come to you guys with a simple message about Bitcoin scams. You probably know about this. I don't feel like I'm telling many people something new here, but I have some new information, okay, for you. So most people should know that all these Bitcoin giveaways where they say, you send me 0.1 Bitcoin, I'll send you 0.2 Bitcoin. You send me 1 Bitcoin, I'll send you 2. Send me 4, I'll send you 8, whatever. It is a scam. Of course, nobody's gonna send you that money. And at first, honestly, I thought, nobody's gonna fall for this, so it's not even worth talking about. But
the advertisement where he was talking was saying, when you send me, let's say, 1 Bitcoin, I'd send you back 2 Bitcoin. So I understood that this was looking really so real, but unfortunately till now I didn't receive any Bitcoin. You know, I sent there 1.8 Bitcoin. So you try to check everything, looks everything okay, and you got fucked up. You know, it's just.
As usual, I am wrong, and people are falling for this, which makes me want to cover it. Because not only are they falling for it, but Bitcoin scams are alive and well on YouTube. It amazes me. Just this week, guys, I wasn't planning to make a video on this, except this week, like literally from Sunday to now, which is Wednesday, looking at my imaginary watch, which would not have the date on it. Okay, from Sunday to Wednesday, so 4 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days. I've seen 3 of these scams. And how these scams work, if you don't know, is that typically they have some famous person in the title. They're faking a channel name like Bill Gates Foundation, but they have no affiliation with Bill Gates, and they're saying Bill Gates 5,000 Bitcoin giveaway. And in it, they have like Bill Gates talking at a famous speech that's pre-recorded from somebody else. They just rip it onto their video. And then they have some phony website where you can give them Bitcoin, okay? So the scam is really formulaic, but this is important to know. What they're doing to pull this off is not basic at all. It's pretty sophisticated, and if you're not careful, you might fall for it. And I want to talk about some of the issues. So the first thing they do that surprised me is that a lot of times they're not using just burner accounts. They're using hacked accounts. So instead of using an account that they set up yesterday that has no traction with the algorithm, they're stealing like somebody's 30,000 subscriber, channel and running a Bitcoin scam on it after deleting all their videos. And that's really messed up because oftentimes the person's channel gets deleted because of the fact they're breaking TOS by running these impersonation Bitcoin scams. And then that person who was hacked, who had no part in the Bitcoin scam giveaway, if they don't get their channel returned to them in a month, their channel is permanently deleted and it will never be recovered. We had that happen with Sparky channel. Yeah, remember him, the guy we tried to help? Well, YouTube permanently deleted his channel. So even though YouTube knows now that his channel was, Sparky channel was hacked, they can't do anything for him. They just delete data after a month. So what's really messed up is that, YouTube, who's not exactly good at people getting their channels back on time after they're hacked, will often delete these channels because they're running Bitcoin scams. And so the person's original channel, which they had nothing to do with the scam, gets deleted. So that's super messed up. The other thing they do, which is pretty sophisticated, is they load up these videos with bots to watch it. So like on 2 of the examples that I'm thinking of from just this week, which I think I have some footage from, 16,000 or 20,000 people were watching live. Now, obviously, there aren't actually that many people watching live. It's just a bunch of burner bot accounts. But the fact that YouTube's algorithm doesn't pick that up means that they're promoting it as if it has 16,000 actual live viewers, which means definitely people organically are being pushed that video. You can see this with Jack Ma, who's a pretty famous figure, probably gets searched a lot. That live stream showed up first in the search results. When you typed in Jack Ma, he was the first thing to show up. This fake, phony Bitcoin scam live stream was the first thing to show up in the search results. So this is a huge problem, and the sophistication of the scam is part of what makes that possible. You couldn't have done that with just some account you set up a day ago. And not only are they doing that, but now they have bot chat. Like, they load up the live stream with viewers, but they also have a chat room. This impressed me, honestly. The live chat is loaded with people that are like supporting the Bitcoin scam, supposedly. They're just a bunch of bot accounts to build the appearance of trustworthiness and like that it's a legit thing, which is just mind-blowing to me that someone would go through this much effort, have such a sophisticated way to scam people. But at the same time, the scam isn't that good. Like, we can all agree, I don't think you're wrong for thinking that even though maybe one person falls for it, maybe 2, 5, 10, 20, this is hard to fall for. This is a hard scheme to fall for. And what I wanted to tell you guys is that what worries me is not this scam. I think most people will see right through this. Obviously, some of you are probably thinking, Stephen, why are you even covering this? This is not like most of your scams, which is hard to spot. And I actually agree with you. The reason that I'm pointing it out though is, number one, it's all over right now. And I do think that because it's ranking so high, maybe that authority is getting it lifted up to the point people would be scammed. But number two, what happens when this gets more sophisticated? Like right now, obviously the scam isn't very well thought out. It's very easy to see it's a scam. But what happens when somebody hijacks an account and impersonates someone like Jack Ma, Bill Gates, Jack Dorsey, all these people that they are constantly impersonating, and actually tries to use it for misinformation, for stealing personal information? So instead of asking for Bitcoin, they ask for email addresses or something that's they're probably more likely to get. That worries me, because this stuff, if you're not savvy, is hard to spot. Let me show you another example, which I saw just today, and this kind of pushed me over the edge with this whole thing. I was watching a Cold Fusion video, which if you haven't seen it already, he's a great channel to watch. But I was watching one of his videos, and in the ad bar, like YouTube's ad bar on the side, I didn't get a screenshot of this because I'm an idiot. There was an advertisement for a Steve Wozniak video about him giving away 5,000 Bitcoin, and it was for Fox News. So I clicked on it because I know this is probably a scam. I should have screenshotted the ad, but that was actually one part that I was surprised by, is YouTube allows these ads in their ecosystem. But then secondly, I'm looking at a Fox News page that has 2 million subscribers. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, I honestly had to double take 3 times and realize that this is not actually Fox News. It was a fake account. They had faked subscribers up to 2 million subscribers before YouTube eventually caught it and reduced them back to their original number of 8 subscribers. But for a while, for a split second there, if you went to their channel, you would really think, if you didn't really dig more, that this was the real Fox News. It had their banner, it had a subscriber count that looks maybe similar to what Fox News might legitimately have. And it has this guy who you kind of trust. Maybe you think, oh, this guy's famous, he's not gonna lie to me. And it's all a gigantic scam. So these things are getting quite sophisticated, not in terms of like their psychological part. I think they're missing more compelling psychological elements. But in terms of technologically, if you can fake your way to 2 million subscribers, if you can, impersonate successfully a mainstream news channel, if you can rank among the most popular names in the world, we have a serious problem on YouTube. And not only that, it's getting channels deleted. And I think this is a gigantic problem that needs more serious attention by YouTube. Now, in their defense, both of the live streams that I saw went down and were deleted within, 48 hours, which is good. But a lot of the videos that I saw were not deleted and stayed up for a very long time. So you can still find videos that are months old that are fake Bitcoin giveaways impersonating famous people. You can find entire channels still up, like this Robert Kiyosaki channel that's not really him, that's impersonating him, has 23,000 subscribers and is running these scams. So this is something that really needs to be given a look by YouTube. And also you guys need to be aware that YouTube's bot detection system is good, but it's not great. And things will slip through the cracks, at least temporarily. And so you can't just trust a channel that says it has 2 million subscribers. If it doesn't have the viewership, if it's videos, when you go to its video history, if that looks shady, run away, guys. All in all though, I would just say in general, be super careful with any non-refundable deposit or, you know, way of giving money, Western Union, all of that. 99% of the time, if someone asks you exclusively to give them money that way, it is a scam and you should run. After investigating scams for a while, I now purchase almost everything exclusively with a credit card because I know that worst comes to worst, if the scam master gets scammed, I can charge it back. And that's kind of the beauty of using a credit card, is there's a lot of fraud measures in place to help you. But for sure, don't use anything like Western Union or Bitcoin, which is basically like, if you send it, well, it's pretty much gone. So that's all I wanted to say for now. Just a quick video for public awareness about this. I imagine a lot of you guys are seeing this as well. So let me know what you think. And before I get the comments, and I know I'm gonna get them, this guy deserved it, who fell for it, you know, etc. Just remember that desperation is the antidote to skepticism. One of the reasons he talks about, you know, wanting to get that money is because of coronavirus.
I'm not easy financial situation in my life, and you know, this coronavirus now.
He's in desperate situations, so we've all been there, and it sucks, but that's why we gotta look out for each other. You know, stay away from these scams. And, you know, I just appreciate you guys showing up over and over to help fight against these ridiculous scammers. They come in all shapes, sizes, and forms, as we've seen, you know, over the years together. So that's it for now. I have a big investigation in the works, and hope to show you the guys that soon. But for now,
don't forget to smash like.
Wanted to relive one of the great episodes of Shark Tank where the guy is pitching something that supposedly is going to get rid of bad habits by tasing you, basically. So I bought his product. Every time I fake laugh, I'm going to give myself a little zap. Guys, today we're watching one of the all-time great episodes of Shark Tank. And if you haven't watched this yet, we're going to relive it together with a twist. Listen, I'm now a daily uploader, which I have no respect for. No respect for daily uploaders. But now that I am one myself, one bad habit I want to get rid of is fake laughing. Fake laughing is see, I just did it. You hear that little chuckle? No. Last time every other YouTuber does that, I'm like, come on, dude. And then I catch myself, listen, it's in the DNA of daily uploaders. You're just like in there and you're like, gotta get a piece of content out. Get that fake laugh going, baby. Anyway, so I'm trying to break myself of that habit. It just so happens, I also wanted to relive one of the great episodes of Shark Tank where the guy is pitching something that supposedly is going to get rid of bad habits. So I bought his product. And we're going to be reacting to his video where he goes down in Shark Tank fail history.
You're a get the out of here.
While also getting rid of my bad habit. I did it again. See, now I'm going to show you how this works. Every time I fake laugh, I'm going to give myself a little zap. Let's see how the first one feels. I hate doing this. This is really hard to do, like shock yourself. This is number one problem with the product. You have to get rid of your bad habit, you shock yourself every time you do the bad activity. So let's do it. Okay. Problem one with the product, half the time the shocks don't go through. Maybe that's part of the product, is like adds the edge of you don't know. So you'll see the, well, if it lights up, oh, there it goes. It lights up, no zap. Other times, it feels like a scorpion just stung me in the arm. So I'll try to be honest with when I get shocked, when I don't get shocked, but that's how this game is played. Let's get started from the beginning. By the way, just got to be honest with you, adrenaline runs through you every time you press this thing because you're like, am I going to get tased with the force of a military-grade taser, or am I going to feel nothing? It's a scary thing, honestly.
Deadly. Meet Pavlok.
I'd rather just shock me every time.
Doesn't just track what you do, but actually changes what you do. Pavlok helps you become aware by alerting you when you do behaviors you'd like to reduce. Then simply press the button, and Pavlok releases a mild electric
Nothing mild. Maybe it's because I have 2.0. There's nothing mild about it.
sensation that helps you reduce cravings. You can laugh, but it's actually something very serious. I am laughing. It releases a mild electric sensation that helps you reduce cravings and actually breaks bad habits in the brain.
How did you come up with this idea?
I've always had severe ADD. I could never get myself to actually get stuff done. I couldn't get myself to commit to anything, so I did what any normal person would do. I hired someone to sit down next to me and slap me in the face.
What?
Every time I went on Facebook.
Nice.
And I wrote a blog.
No, Barbara, not nice. Creepy. Weird. Oh, no. And there goes problem number one. Let's go. Let's try it out. Okay. Hey, listen, it's not my fault if it doesn't work. It's not my fault if it doesn't zap me. Okay. His fault for shipping a bad product. See, that's something they don't know in this Shark Tank episode is like the product half works.
Did they actually slap? Yeah, there's a video of me getting slapped.
But did you get the work done?
I did. Yeah, it was really cool stuff.
Because that made you come up with this idea.
Yeah, I was visiting a friend of mine. I'm like, dude, why am I paying? I could just make a zapper that zaps me every time I go on Facebook.
How does
try
this
it?
is
Can we show it
fascinating.
to you after one moment? I just want to explain kind of the science behind it, and then I'll bring it out for you.
Now, you're already noticing that he kind of is a little aggressive with like, I'll run this presentation. Thank you very much. That's going to continue. And these facial expressions will continue to get worse.
It's a slight electric stimulus that's done while doing a undesired bad habit.
I bite my nails. I'm trying to not bite my nails all the time. Where it falls down for me is if I have the discipline to buzz myself, do I not have the discipline to stop?
People do.
Anytime you hear the stuttering, like, okay, well, you need to relax if you're up on that Shark Tank stage. Otherwise, it's like smelling blood. I mean, they start to smell blood in the water. It's honestly what it is.
Cool. You have the discipline to stop.
Well, I don't.
Do you wish you could stop?
I do.
So can I? So here's
but
the
your premise is I have enough
Nonsense,
discipline.
Robert. It's all nonsense across the board.
I can't get around that. Like I want to bite my nails, and for me to stop, I have to hit this thing.
Correct. And you don't want to hit it. Trust me. I honestly, full disclosure, I've had this thing for like a week and a half and I didn't want to use it because I was like, dude, this thing, it's like a jack in the box where you like crank it. You're like, you don't know when it's going to shock you, when it's not. Isn't this just like a rubber band on your wrist that you snap, but just $150?
Sure.
Why can't Lori buzz it for me?
She can. She absolutely can. There's a remote control. There's a remote control app. There's automation.
That sounds
What
criminal.
percentage of the time does it not work?
It doesn't work if you don't want it to work.
No, actually, it doesn't work a lot of the time. See, watch. Didn't feel it again. Dude, this... I've done it like 4 times already. Hasn't worked a single time. I'm honestly disappointed.
So it doesn't...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, of course. So if you use it on sugar, after about 3 or 4 days on like a cookie or tortilla chips, you'll start to notice the flavor changes. Now, what's interesting about it...
No.
The flavor changes.
Yeah, you
You're
do.
such a con artist.
I'm absolutely That's for...
Con artist! He just comes out and says it. And I'll give myself a zap for that one because there's a little bit of a... I can't tell, honestly. I'm so deep in the daily grind, I don't even know what my real laugh is like anymore. I'm just like... See, guys, this is why I need this. And by the way, it didn't shock me again. Dude, this is a piece of junk. I thought this was going to be a great challenge. Ow! Okay. A little bit of a delayed one on that one. Dude, that actually legit hurts. Oh, dude, it just... Okay, take a break. That doesn't count. This thing just started like uncontrollably zapping me. Sorry, I had to take it off. I gotta like reset the programming of this thing for a second. What the heck? This thing is the worst designed product of all time. I pressed it like 4 times. It didn't work. And then all of a sudden it's not supposed to be working. And I'm like getting shocks through my arm. This thing sucks. That's what I get for making fun of this guy. He's probably like somehow getting in here. He may be listening to me. It's probably how these things make money. Probably listens to him. And he's like, oh yeah, you want to talk some shit? Give you a little zap. Ow. All right. Let's try again.
Results, Mark. More than 50% of our users break their habit in 7 days or less.
First
Let's
point,
leave-
fall apart.
Let's leave the skepticism out for 1 minute.
I love the skepticism because he doesn't even know it's going to come.
What? You're going, oh, I love skepticism because that guy's an idiot. He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
You guys can argue till the cows come home. You want to get a deal? Explain to me why you're worth $14 million.
That's right.
15. What is it? How much?
He's like, not 14, 15 million because you can't do math, you idiot. Look, if the product worked, if the product didn't randomly shock you, it like didn't not shock you when it was supposed to shock you, you might actually have a real product here. The problem is his arrogance combined with that.
Number one, our sales are great.
What are your
What are your sales? Usually
So we're
they
in
even get to
pre-order,
that.
and we actually just began shipping this week. We've sold $800,000 of revenue.
Wait. Pre-orders.
3/4 of the users were pre-orders, and 1/4 of the users were prototypes.
What did each of those people pay for one device?
Too much.
$200.
How much?
Too much.
$200.
That's what I paid for this. Ridiculous.
Who buys these?
So our biggest users are
YouTubers. Try. Let's try again. Let's roll the dice. Okay, it didn't work. It didn't even turn on that time. I'm so pissed. This is $200. Do you guys hearing me? $200 for All it does is just like a big battery. It's just supposed to shock you and an app. And it doesn't work. This is such trash, dude. This thing doesn't work. Sorry.
Sitting too long, waking up on time, nail biting, and eating. So we've started to build out multiple really cool integrations for this product.
Oh, dude.
The first thing is the alarm clock.
What the
It's
heck?
the alarm clock that works.
It's a delay. It's a ticking time bomb. This thing, I hate this. This is a dumb idea because I thought you had a real product. Okay? I thought you had a real product. What you have is a torture device. You have a Stanley Milgram experiment on your wrist. We're going to try this one more time. Okay, bud?
4 sharks are out. But Kevin seems interested in Manisha's habit-breaking watch, Pavlok.
I believe this technology works because I've seen it work. Your valuation...
Bro, that face, unbelievable. It's the way he's making these expressions is unbelievable. He's just like... Instead of having a face that says, I'm here, you know, respectfully, he's like... So condescending.
...is crazy.
Okay?
I'm sorry. It's not worth $15.9 million now. I'm going to solve the problem in the deal structure. I'm very creative. I'll give you the $500,000 as debt on the company, okay? You're going to give me the 3.14% as equity today, and you're going to walk out of here with a Shark Tank deal. I'm going to put it on for 24 months at 7.5% and balloon payment me back in 2 years.
Kevin O'Leary loves these terrible deals.
If 1/3 of your projections are right, you can easily do that.
It's an offer.
It's an offer. This is the problem. Damn.
There's
no problem.
So the problem, Mr. Wonderful, is that we're not focused on the money. We're focused more on the
We're
habits.
focused on the money.
Why did you come to Shark Tank if you're not focused on the money?
You've come to the wrong place, my friend. I'm here to make money.
Let him finish, Kev.
Our big...
Okay, that's a real laugh. Dude, Mark Cuban cracks me up. He's like, you can see it in his face. He's so excited to just see this guy implode. Look at those eyes. I honestly thought Manish had the best eyebrows in the game. No, Mark Cuban? Dude got some brows.
Our biggest goal is to break bad habits around the world. And Mr. Wonderful, like, I can't work with you.
Why not?
I'm just worried that if we work together...
You don't like him.
I do like him as a person, but I feel like as an investor in the company, it would be really bad.
Manish, you didn't want an offer here today,
I
did you
absolutely
really?
want an offer. I absolutely
You
want an
got
offer.
one, and why don't you want the structure of that offer? Why not?
The structure is actually quite good.
What's the person?
It's the person. I feel like...
You just said you like Mr. Wonderful, but now you're going to say you don't?
I would take an offer from anybody besides Mr. Wonderful.
Manish, you're a get out of here.
Yes! Yes!
Okay, well...
Give this man what he deserves for torturing me all episode. And yes, I'll give myself a final shock for it, okay? And then I'm immediately taking it off if it doesn't work, because this thing is a death trap. Okay, it didn't work. I'm taking this piece of crap off and never... Dude, you're a piece of work, bud. Look at that. You don't even have a good product. It's not even that people don't like you, which they didn't in Shark Tank, okay? Because you were rude and condescending. It's also that your product just doesn't work. Sorry.
Are you all out?
Yeah, we're all out.
Yes, dude.
Done, Mike.
Yes.
Right, see you very much. Won't want to be ya.
I just feel so good. Woo!
I have a tinge of regret for rejecting the deal with Mr. Wonderful, but the truth is, our company is building something much bigger than...
No, you're not. You're building it for idiots like me who want content. You're not building it for like real people wanting to break their habits, because no one wants to deal with that little trap.
We're trying to change human behavior,
Oh,
and Kevin wouldn't be the
right.
right partner for us to work with.
I'm telling you, whether it was you or me or Robert or one of us, he was going to do that to somebody. It just happened to be you or the last guy.
I realize he's a gold digger.
He's an idiot. He's a con artist.
This technology has
He
problems.
thinks
I'm
he's
not kidding.
sincere.
He's not a technology,
Has
Kevin. He's a con
problems or
artist.
promise?
Kevin, don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
Dude, did you hear that? He goes, don't feel bad, Kevin. I don't feel bad. And then he's like, sad, Kevin. Look at this. It's so sad. Play the music. Play the music.
Don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
Oh, it's okay, Kevin. It's okay. You're patted on that. Poor Kevin. Okay. That's me sincerely laughing. This is good. See, in some ways, maybe this helped me. I don't know. You'll let me know in the future videos. Do you think it's helped me get rid of my addiction to fake laughing as a daily uploader? Let me know. If not, whatever. I'm never putting that stupid Pavlok on again. I had other content ideas with it, but I'm not sure that I'm willing to risk the Ladies and gentlemen, the scamming doesn't stop. Today, we've got yet another juicy little scam coming from the influencer section of the internet. The biggest scumbag, greedy people on earth who are happy to sell you out for a few bucks. Let's take a look at who's going to be doing the scamming today, shall we? Roll the video.
My name's Fraser.
My name's Jarvis.
I'm Tico.
I'm Reiska.
I'm Nikon. And I support Save the Kids Token.
Save the Kids Token.
Save the Kids Token.
Save the Kids Token. Save the Kids Token.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a BEP20 token redistributing wealth to both holders and charities. Actually, it turns out to have just redistributed wealth to the people who got in on the ground floor, aka these guys. Now, if you're already confused why this is bad, because you see the name, you go, hey, it's Save the Kids. What's wrong with saving kids? Hold on. Let's back up. Let me explain what's going on here. This is what's known as a charity token that they're shilling, where part of the money, like a small portion, 1% of the transactions or 2%, goes to charity. They become really popular to promote because they sound good. At their heart, though, most of them are just, once again, greedy little Ponzi schemes with nothing really to add to anything. Save the Kids is supposed to give money to kids and save them, I guess. And a huge group of top influencers jumped on board to promote it. These people include FaZe Clan, which you may know, they're like Fortnite characters, and Rice Gum, who you may know as the Asian Jake Paul. He's famous for his hit single, God Church.
Drop merch and it's selling like a God Church.
But that's not all. Even Instagram model Summer Rae got involved. All these people promoted this charity coin right before launch. The price pumped. They got out. They deleted their tweets suddenly out of nowhere. They said, hey, my manager called. I can't do this. They backed out of this project like a Homer Simpson meme, and they ran away, leaving their fans holding the bag. And listen, I know what you're saying. Stephen, who cares? Just let a influencer scam their fans. Aren't you sick of trying to hold these people accountable when we all know nothing's going to be done about this? But of course we know the answer is I'll never stop. Okay? Because I'm devoted to holding these people as accountable as humanly possible, which I think the bare amount of accountability here is just that people know what you did. Because right now, the tweet deletion is going on like crazy. I mean, these people have scrubbed these tweets from the internet, most of them. I'm here to archive them for you so you at least know what happened. So let's go to the board and talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the $10 million studio. I'm your host, Coffeezilla, and today, yes, we're talking about influencers, which I know is everyone's favorite subject, right? We've got to hold these people accountable. Aren't you sick of it, dude? Don't they have enough money? Bring down the board here. Okay. So this is the Save the Kids token website. By the way, love that name. It makes you sound like there's no way it could be a scam. It's for the kids, guys. But honestly, we all should have known something was up when they said it's a token redistributing wealth. Because the question is, of course, to who?
I like to say very bluntly, our mission is to redistribute wealth. A lot of people bristle at that phrase. That is, in fact, the phrase we need to use.
I mean, maybe, call me crazy, in hindsight, it was a bad idea to trust the guy who flexes from a yellow Lambo to know a lot about crypto. Or maybe the Fortnite boys here don't know tokenomics that well. That's also a possibility. But nonetheless, they promoted it to their fans anyways. In a series of now deleted tweets, but that are archived on the website itself, FaZe K says, I'm extremely excited to announce that I'm an ambassador for a project that's coming very soon. They want to donate over $1 million to charity in 30 days. Launches on June 5th. Another promotion to his fans. Same guy. 4,000 members in the Telegram, and the name hasn't even been released. No other project has done this. FaZe Nikan says, I'm so excited to be an ambassador for a new altcoin that's going live Saturday. They're donating to charity. It's something I truly believe can make change. FaZe Tico, sort of the brains of the operation, then jumps in. Announcement, I'm the third ambassador for a new charity altcoin with FaZe Kane, FaZe Nikan. We're going to be making a difference and changing some lives. Don't worry, guys. You change lives, all right. And then we have Rice Gum. Ayo, guys. Super excited to be an ambassador for Save the Kids BSC. This is going to be one of the biggest charity coins ever on the BSC network. They hype it up. They get people really excited. You got FaZe Jarvis getting people really excited. He just finished a boxing match. And the point is, they're telling their fans, if you're a fan of me, you're going to be a fan of this coin. So understandably, thousands of people flood into the Telegram chat. They get super excited to jump on this coin. Instagram model Summer Rae also promoted it. Let's take a watch.
Okay, guys, one more thing. I haven't really gotten into the coin world at all, but my first venture is I'm just now a ambassador for this coin. It's called Save the Kids. It's a charity coin, and this month alone, we're going to give $1 million to charities.
Wow, so they're going to be giving $1 million away. They're hyping up this launch. So the day of, what happens? It goes to the moon, right, guys? Well, no. The answer is the first day it pumps and immediately it dumps all the way to negative 90%. I mean, people completely lost their shirts on this thing. And pretty soon, people start accusing Rice Gum and these people of getting in on the pre-sale and dumping their bags. Which, if you're not familiar with crypto, basically means getting in right here, selling right here. That's the general idea. But honestly, it's really hard to prove if somebody sold off immediately or not. You need their actual wallet address. What we know is that all the whales in the coin sold off immediately. And why would Rice Gum, the king of the Lambos, do anything if he's not actually involved in some of the project? And so after the coin dumps and their followers start to lose tons of money, with one of them saying that they are down 50% in 2 minutes after launch, what do? Well, these brave influencers who got their fans into this, they peace out, they delete all their posts, and basically pretend like it never happened. Actually, that isn't quite accurate. Some of them deleted their posts, like Rice Gum. I believe some of them, like FaZe K, Jarvis, some of these guys left it up, but the point is actually the same, which is they all promised to be ambassadors of this token. And whenever it's time to actually promote it, now that it's dumped and your followers have gone in and the value's completely tanked, they're nowhere to be found. Now, the question is, why would these influencers stop promoting this coin? Maybe it's because, according to them, their managers took their tweets down. So apparently the excuse for why they had to abandon the project is because they had difficult managers. FaZe had difficult managers. Summer Rae had a very difficult manager. You know, guys, it's just tough when these influencers, they get out of these tokens and they're managers, guys. It's fine to promote the coin pre-launch, but once it goes live and fails and they all abandon, guys, it's the managers calling. So on the way up, when everyone's making money in the pre-sale, when they're promoting some garbage coin, hey, it's fine. But when the coin disastrously tanks and all their fans are screwed, rather than stick with the project, they go, oops, hey, my manager's calling.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut this interview short.
But look, now what, right? Like, what can we learn from this? Well, two things. Number one, never trust influencers. Never, ever, especially about anything related to finance, please. Number two, and this goes out to the influencers. If you wouldn't shill a penny stock, some worthless penny stock, don't shill worthless crypto with, anonymous founders, etc. Because a common defense of these people that I always hear is like, hey, maybe they were well-intentioned. Hey, maybe they didn't know it was going to be a scam, whatever. But that's the thing. If you weren't sure that it wasn't going to be a scam, why promote it to your followers? Like, you wouldn't go push some pink sheet trash. Why are you going to push some random crypto that started a day ago? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. This is why I'm not buying the whole, they didn't know influencer excuse. Because people come to me all the time. Listen, now that we're the crypto call out channel here, people come to me and they go, hey, Stephen, like, hey, man, like, I'm not doing anything wrong, right? Like, I may have promoted this, or I may have promoted, like, that's not too bad, right? I get the sense that what they're trying to get at is, hey, can I push this? Like, what if it fails? Like, am I going to be a scam if it fails? And my message to these people is like, if you're thinking that this project has a reasonable chance of failing, don't show it to your audience. Like, if you want to gamble, that's fine. Don't go push that on your audience. These influencers are just ridiculous, man. They're pushing trash on you guys. When it fails, they cut their losses and run and pretend it never happened. Everyone else may have let you get away with it. Everyone else may have given you a pass for shilling these trash coins to your followers, but not me, baby. I'm going to call you out every single time. Anyway, that's basically it. I don't know. Do your own research. Be smarter. Don't get involved with stupid influencers. And thanks for watching.
Hey, you took my money away. You said that it was safe, but I'm robbed and I don't feel okay. I trusted you. You said that it was alright. Oh, but now I'm broke and my wallet's relight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the $10 million studio. I am the internet detective. Guys, welcome. Today, we are hunting down a scammer who left their phone number while impersonating me in my own comment section. Dude, the balls. I can't believe the cojones to do this, to think that they're going to do this and get away with it. Are you kidding me, dude? Dodge that, as usual. Yeah, it's right here, guys. It's all over my comment section. This has happened multiple times, and I never thought anyone would fall for this. So it's point number 2 is interesting in terms of Bitcoin, gold, and stocks. It says it's Coffeezilla. Of course, it's not me, and they leave their scammer WhatsApp number with a bunch of spaces in it to get around YouTube's AI spam detection, right? Because a lot of these comments, they do go to spam. Like, YouTube is trying to watch out for this stuff. But these scammers have found out ways around it. So my subscribers, like every single video, are faced with this. Which, to be honest, is a bit of a test. I mean, if you're watching my videos for real, you should not fall for this. But literally, some of you have messaged me and you go, wait, why are you telling us about this Bitcoin scam, Steve? I thought you were against this stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they link me this. And I'm like, oh, you're getting scammed in my own comment section. So I thought I'd finally address it. It's about time. It's just because these people won't go away, you know? They won't stop remaking new accounts. So I literally have to address it. Otherwise, I feel like someone's eventually going to get scammed and I'm going to feel really bad. Literally, even somebody that, like, I talk to now and then, he's like, yeah, I texted back that number you sent me, and it's kind of weird. Why are you doing that? And I'm like, dude, you know me. How do you not know that that's a scam? There's even a check mark beside my name that says like it's the real Coffeezilla. It's like verified, but, you know, it doesn't stop people from, you know, falling for it, basically, and texting this number. So I decided I was going to text it myself, but not before being an idiot and complaining about it on Twitter, basically. I run an anti-scam channel. Y'all making me look goofy. How hard is it to police the stuff? I tried flagging and blocking these kind of comments because they're impersonating me. And literally, it's not just one account. There have been 4 accounts so far that I know of that have tried commenting on all my videos. They all have my profile picture, my username, whatever. It's so easy to fake and impersonate people on YouTube. And I blocked 4 of them, probably more than that at this point, but they keep coming. So I just finally decided, okay, what am I going to do about it? And then I got this message. Message the scammer for content? And I was like, Indy, you're right. Honestly, you should have my job. Because that's a good idea. Instead of complaining about it online like a wimp, I should just do something about it, dude. Why am I not doing something? So that's what I do, guys. Rather than complain, lest it be said that I'm a Twitter warrior, I message this guy. I say, what's up, dude? Hey. But basically, I want to know what this guy's telling my poor audience, my unsuspecting sheep that are walking into this trap thinking that it's me, you know, helping them out. So I say, I saw your YouTube comment. I'm interested in Bitcoin stuff. My name is Ben. Huge fan, man. He says, you've done well to contact me regarding cryptocurrencies investment. How long have you been into cryptocurrencies? Also, do you invest in any project yet? He said, I'm in crypto, got a few Bitcoin, whatever. That's not true. But I just want to get them all greedy, right? Okay. I currently have an info to share that can get you 12% daily returns. Do you know about cryptocurrency mining? We're going to talk about how crazy 12% is, but wow, that's intense. Daily returns of 12%. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. If you fall for this, you've learned nothing. It is kind of a test. I'm almost thinking of unblocking these scammers. I mean, I'm going to continue to block them. But it's almost like a funny test to put into my videos. Like, are you paying attention? Do you know what too good to be true means? Because if you fall for this, this is just crazy. This is crazy. And he says, okay, yeah, I'm going to describe cryptocurrency mining. Basically, it's this idea that Mike Winnett already did a video about. It's not making money. You're probably not going to be profitable. You're just not going to mine fast enough. I'll link to this video right here. But basically, this guy sends me some random video of a bunch of loud cryptocurrency mining, I guess. Yeah, that's annoying. And then basically tries to build some credibility and then links me a website. He says, you can verify. We are under regulation by BBB, FTC, IMF, SEC, basically everybody. This is finally the webpage they give us to maybe go to and check that out. We'll check that out in a second, but I want to finish this conversation real quick. He says basically he wants me to invest $5,000 worth of Bitcoin into 12% daily returns. I'll get $600 per day, according to this man. Oh, how nice of Coffeezilla to hook me up. So eventually I want to press this guy. I want to see what he's going to do if I ask him how to prove himself. So I say, my question is, how do I know you're real? Hello? I honestly want to invest a lot of money. Can you send me proof? I'm willing to put down $5,000. He says, okay, do you text on Instagram? I say, no. Send me a picture of yourself. So I'm expecting a picture of me pulled from the internet. Here's where the plot thickens. Who is this? He says, this is Graham Lisa. Message Graham Lisa 221. These guys are so confused and so unorganized. They don't even keep up the scam of like, it's Coffeezilla. And even when you go to that Instagram channel, it's like pathetic. The first line is human. As if they want to convince you that this is a real person. Hey guys, first line of Instagram bio, we are human. I am not a bot. It says they're from Barcelona, the scammer, which is probably not true. Because later, when we go to that like web address that they sent us initially, CoinX Mining, we find this. CoinX Miner is registered in the UK. So is she in the UK or is she in Barcelona? Of course, we don't know. And of course, there we have 12% daily, 11% daily, 9% daily. Those are their investment plans, whatever. And they say, yeah, we're so legit. We're actually registered with the UK government. So I, of course, had to look further into it. There's this company called CoinX Ltd. So I looked that up, of course, and they give us an address. And so I look for their headquarters on Street View. Obviously, I want to see it. Is it registered? No, I don't see it anywhere here. So I end up hunting down their little articles of incorporation or whatever. And we actually have a different proposed address here. It's 3 High Street instead of whatever this was, 5 Clerkenwell Road. So I say, okay, that's interesting. Let's go check out High Street. Now, unfortunately, here we also have no luck. So the best I can explain it is basically this. This is some like virtual office or something they did through a lawyer. And actually, I don't even think they're CryptoX. I think they're randomly using someone else's crypto, company to front through. Because CryptoX Ltd has its own website, which you can find here, which looks nothing like CoinX Miner or whatever they sent us to. And so literally they're putting someone else's, registration with the UK up in order to prove themselves legit in the hopes that you're going to, of course, fall for it. Like at several points during this operation, this scam, you could have seen through it. It's not well constructed. I'd give this like a 1 out of 5 in terms of persuasiveness. It's so obvious that this is a scam. But if you ever doubted, if you ever wondered, how do you know? How do you know it's a scam? Well, I'll explain. They say they've been running for 1,852 days. Let's say I put in $1 with crypto or CoinX miners, and they actually do what they say they're going to do. Put together a little spreadsheet. They give me 12% daily. Okay, I put in $1. Is everyone clear so far? It starts to compound pretty quick. And by day 100, I made $100,000 from basically nothing, from $1 invested. But by day 365, I have made, 822 quadrillion from $1. This scammer is going to give me 822 quadrillion. Now, to put that into context, I went ahead and put the total market cap of Bitcoin, because they say this is all from Bitcoin mining. So the total market cap of Bitcoin right now, if you owned all the Bitcoin, is somewhere around $600 billion. You're barely moving a decimal place. But I went ahead and went further. I said, what about the entire wealth of the entire global population? Not like you're Jeff Bezos, but you own Jeff Bezos, you own Bill Gates, you own every single person's wealth on Earth. How much money do you have? Well, $360 trillion. That's the global wealth. They are saying that they will get you 2,286 times the total global wealth. You could buy the entire Earth 2,000 times over if you invested $1 with these guys for 365 days. Guys, this stuff is so comical. All you have to do is a little bit of math, and you will discover that these guys are trying to scam you. And it's really frustrating because YouTube doesn't give me a better way to block these guys, because they can just keep putting up new fake accounts. So I decided, for your sake, to just go through their little scam, walk through it, and try to show you how it all operates. I will say that I told him to send me his Bitcoin address because I just was curious how much is in his wallet. And I checked, and there's $0 in his wallet. So this scammer has, fortunately, made $0 so far. So you guys out there, you get an A+. I guess that's what this all comes down to, is that I said it was a test for my followers, kind of is, and you all have passed with flying colors. I guess no one actually followed this through to the end, which makes me very happy, because I would hate to see you guys get scammed. And just stay vigilant, guys. There's a lot of scammers out there. Look for that little check mark, because without it, you don't know who that is. And obviously, if it's saying weird stuff like join this Bitcoin scam or something like that, don't fall for it. Obviously, I would never tell you guys to do that. It's so against what I believe in, to go ahead and join some weird cloud mining. Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. At long last, after hours, days, weeks, months of work on the $10 million studio, we finally finished on Friday, and I am happy to say the studio's up and running better than ever. Welcome to 221C Baker Street, Coffeezilla's office, home of the internet detective. They said I could be anything, so I became an internet detective. And I'm going to walk you through my whole set. But I first want to say, look, guys, this is not some amateur operation anymore. We're leveling up. We are now professional internet detectives. Does that mean we're better researched or any more knowledgeable than we were before? No. But what it does mean is that we have the appearance, and the appearance of credibility, the appearance of being well-dressed, well-lit, because that's a big lesson I learned during the pandemic, I got to tell you. And I hope this inspires you at home. Nobody's smarter than you. Nobody knows anything you don't. What they are is they're richer than you, they're better dressed than you, and they're better lit than you. That's the difference between you and the people in media. Seriously. I realized this actually. I was feeling a little down and out, to be honest with you guys. We all experience those times of self-doubt. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. But who picked me up was not my traditional inspirations. Right now, I'm going for a cross somewhere between Chris Cuomo and Alex Jones, trying to kind of hit all the bases. But that's not who inspired me. Ladies and gentlemen, who inspired me were America's sweethearts. And I'm going to demonstrate it to you, actually, by showing off a little feature of the studio, actually. These are the people who really made me realize something profound. Yes, that's right. America's late night hosts. Oh, wow. Were they humbled this year, weren't they? They had to go back. They had to get taken away from their beautiful sets, from their makeup artists. And torn away from that, I suddenly felt a lot better about not being that entertaining or funny or talented. I realized, hey, these guys aren't either. It's just movie magic. That's all it is. Our little brains think that people dressed up in suits, lit really well with beautiful backgrounds, we think they're credible. There's nothing more or less credible about them. They've just got a team that dresses them up really nice. So I realized, oh, well, if that's the only problem, then we can fix that. That's something we can fix. I was thinking I had to get a personality, start writing funny jokes. But watching these guys, let me just say, I was truly inspired. So I built this. Without further ado, I want to show you the full set we built. The first thing I want to show you is actually a cool little feature of this screen back here where I can show you what's going on, what I'm looking at. It actually rotates sideways to go into like a cool portrait mode. Check this out. This is a gigantic ordeal setting this up. And with that beautiful transition, before I show you anything else, any of the other features of the studio, I need to introduce you to someone special. Someone who I could not have done this about. Someone who held my hand every step of the way. Someone who supported me through this whole journey. I'm talking, of course, of my designer, Ed. Ed, thank you for coming on the show. You're the architect of the $10 million studio. I could not have done this without you. And the first thing people should know is where you're from. Because when I was deciding where to hire from, did I hire from the U.S., the land of the privileged? No. So instead, I chose Ukraine. Ed, how are things over there?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Thank you for stimulating my economy.
I think we're the biggest thing since Hunter Biden. Ukraine hasn't had a lot of big ticket Americans come on through. It's basically Hunter Biden and me stimulating the world economy. Thank you so much, though. You're a legend. When I saw your work, I haven't seen anything like it. And I knew you'd be the exact person to take things to the next level. Just as a curiosity, how was I as a boss? We've been working on this project together for like, how many months now?
It's like a couple of months, I think, like in my schedule it was, but it feels like years, really.
Okay, that's how we're going to do this interview. Okay, all right. Listen, in all seriousness, you have your own YouTube channel starting up called Be Memorable. Go check him out, guys. He's on the come up. Ukraine is a rising world power. We all know it. It's like the US, Ukraine, and then Canada. Tell Amish I said that. All right, guys. Well, give a big round of applause for Ed, designer of the $10 million studio. Go subscribe to his channel, Be Memorable. Thanks for coming by. Now, with that out of the way, I want to show you the rest of the studio. Guys, someone I've always been very inspired by is Charlie Kelly from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This is a man who knows what's going on in the mailroom.
Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay? Pepe Sylvia. This name keeps coming up over and over again. Every day, Pepe's mail's getting sent back to me. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I look in the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia.
So obviously, I had to do a bit of an homage to that. This is our research corner, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Boom. This is where we uncover what's really going on in the world, in the deep state, whatever you want to call it. Guys, you know I'm not a conspiracy guy. But if something slides across my desk that's interesting, that makes sense, this is where we're going to talk about it. Next, I want to show you where all the calculations are done. Because, guys, the days of the gumshoe detective is over. The era of internet detectives is here. Most fraud is done online. And to catch that fraud, you need the cutting-edge computers, the cutting-edge graphics cards, CPUs, sound cards. You need the cutting-edge everything. Now, I will tell you that this right over here, it also doubles as an incredible battle station to play Among Us, to play Fall Guys. You know, games that are graphic intensive, right? We don't play little baby party games like Call of Duty. We only play the most graphic intensive games that require 20 RTX 2080 NVIDIA graphics cards. That's all we do. But this is mostly where we monitor the social accounts of all these gurus, where we find out what the latest fraud is before anyone else does. You guys know the FTC oftentimes out to lunch. So hopefully we can catch a few things here. This is where we're going to do that at. Next, when the investigation winds down, when we need to relax. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a passion for playing piano. So we had to, of course, throw a grand piano in there. Something that, it's fully playable. You guys know that this is a real $10 million studio set, and that would not be complete without a real piano. So this is really me playing. We'll play more of that another time, just when we're just maybe people are filing in for a live stream, whatever we're doing. This is where we can have that kind of rapport. We're going to play some banger songs, hits, top 100 chart songs. This is where they'll be played at. Everyone knows that the real cutting edge music and pop is jazz piano, so that's where we're going to do it, guys. Everyone knows that's the new thing. It's a new wave, so that's where it's going to happen. Moving on, one last thing. If you're not convinced yet that Coffeezilla is going places, the new season of Coffeezilla is going to be the best yet. Let me give you guys some incentive. First of all, this channel would be nothing without each and every one of you guys at home watching, supporting, subscribing, sharing, and I want to give back to you guys. So I had this idea that at 1 million subscribers, we're going to do something massive. And this is the 1 million subscriber door. Currently, our big surprise taped up. You know, it's going to be bigger than Mr. Beast. It's going to out. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are learning stocks with TikToks. It's the throwback Thursday to last week. Guys, I have to pay respect to that pump. The video did very well, and we need to recreate that, right? Look, everybody knows the best investing advice is on TikTok. Forget about the traditional investors. They're losing billions of dollars to Wall Street bets. You gotta go to where the new money is, baby. It's not in hedge funds. It's in Robinhood traders, guys, who are ready to blow up their accounts. So let's watch this together. We're going to get 10 tips, okay? Count them, 10. Rule number 1 to start us off, just hot. How to make $1 million in 4 months. This should be good. He wants us to do what? Make an account, put in Bitcoin, of course. Then, oh, look at this.
Time to make money. Red button is to sell and green is to buy. Buy low, sell high.
Is this a repeat of last week?
I see a stock going up and I buy it and I just watch it until it stops going up and then I sell it, and I do that over and over and it pays for our whole lifestyle.
No, dude, you can't just buy low and sell high. It's just time the market, guys. Stay consistent for 4 months and you now have $4.6 million. Yeah, guys, just go spin the roulette wheel 20 times in a row. You have $4 million. Start with $50. It's that easy, guys. When you're on TikTok, you're making some bucks, baby. That's rule number 1. Time the market and always be consistent. 4 months, never lose. Rule number 2. Okay, we're getting a little bit different here. We got an IPO tip.
So tomorrow is DoorDash's IPO.
Stop playing copyrighted music, please. I'm trying to react to these things, and you guys are killing me.
A lot of you guys have been asking what I think about it. So it looks like it's going to open up between $90 to $95. I think it's a great investment for a long term. I'm not sure how it's going to be right away for options, but for a long term, IPOs are very interesting. All they can do is go up.
Wait, what? You guys know IPOs. They only go up. Number 2, always invest in IPOs. They can only go up. Rule number 3, let's take a look.
I want everybody to get access to their motherfucking 401k and bet it all on the Patriots +5. This pick will not lose. We are not in this business to lose. Hit us up on...
Hey, the pick will not lose. Okay, let's look up that pick. How did that do? Betting everything on the Patriots. Cannot lose. You can always trust a guy with this kind of mustache. Hey, who calls their barber and goes, hey, give me the pencil. Give me the pencil. This This pencil cannot lose, baby. What's it say? What's the final score? Oh, oops. Someone tell Pencil Lip over here. You guys just lost a lot of money. Hey, so rule 3 from Stocks with TikToks. Bet everything on the Patriots every time. Cannot lose. Sports betting never loses.
I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to give you all the math, right? So if you have $25,000 in any brokerage bank account, right, you do margins. Now, the only thing is with margins, it's kind of like debt, but it doesn't need to be used as debt. Sometimes it can be used as collateral, meaning that if you want to sell a call option, and you can get into why you need collateral to sell a call option and get a margin account, when you get $25,000, your buying power increases.
Okay, let me stop this guy because I know exactly who this is. There's several traders like this, right? They're slightly too smart for their own good, and they get themselves confused. And they go, this cannot possibly go tits up. And every time, it turns into a disaster.
4 times, so you really get the buying power of 100,000, meaning your collateral is 100,000. Now, when you short a stock, you can make safely 1% to 2% of your buying power.
You can, well, you don't understand. If you just short the stock. Okay, rule number 4. You want to take out margin as collateral. That's the rule number 4. Take out margin as collateral. Let's see what rule 5 is all about.
Just how to trade. You about to make a lot of money, bro.
Whoa, bro. You asked the right guy. You came to the right guy to learn how to trade.
First, go to tradingu.com. Step 2, find a currency pair. Right now I'm on USD CAD. So this is an impulse retracement. Impulse retracement. Impulse retracement. One strategy that I use to trade is simply trying to predict these retracements.
It's easy, guys. Just predict which way the market will go. It's that easy. I mean, listen. When you're done betting your 401k on the Pats, you want to go and put it all on the retracements. Listen, guys, technical analysis, it's been proven to be a very real thing. Been back tested, always makes money, every single time. So just that's it. Rule 5, take the technical analysis always works. Rule 6.
The inflation rate is not 2.5% to 3%. It's 8%. On average, the index funds, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ and all that, they do about 8% per year. Not only that, the wealthiest people in the country are compounding.
Look how confident he is. I can't take it anymore. Dude, can we just look that up? The inflation rate of the U.S. 2020. It's 0.62% this year. It was 2% last year, 2%. Look at how confident and wrong this man is at the same time. This is impressive. Hey, so just state stuff confidently. That's rule number 6. Be confident. Believe in yourself, dude.
None of us realize, or very few of us realize, is that they put like 90% of their income back into the market. It's pennies.
This guy's eyebrows are always like, guys, nobody realizes that the inflation rate is 8%. Nobody but me. I'm in my bathroom right now, but pay no attention to that. I am the smartest guy on Wall Street.
It's pennies. And if you look at the fund that you invested in, and it only did 8%, you just broke even.
Well, okay, nobody's investing in the S&P 500 in TikTok. Come on, let's be honest, dude. Rule 7, who's this guy? Oh, stock market versus real estate. I wonder which one he's going to pick here. Because this is stocks with TikToks, so he better pick the right one.
Here's the difference between investing in the stock market versus real estate. Here is how it feels to invest in the stock market. 1 hour, you could be feeling good, and then you're down. And then you're up, and then you're down. I mean, this could be every minute or every second, just like that. It's like you're laying at the hospital bed, they monitor your heartbeats, and you don't know when the game will be.
Just a casual death reference, that's all it is. The game is over.
Over. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Oh, man.
Let's get a replay.
Will be over. Come on, man. Shit. Now here's real estate. With real estate, you start here, and then it'll just slowly go up.
Real estate only goes up, guys. This man's been asleep during 2008, apparently. He didn't exist. He was born after 2008. Yeah, that's not how anything works, buddy. I'm sorry to say. It's real estate like this. Hey, stocks until you die. I guess rule number 7, don't ever invest in stocks. Forget everything we've learned. Invest in real estate every time, because it only to the moon. Only to the moon. There's no such thing as overpriced real estate. Only to the moon. Solve the economic crisis on MSNBC. Oh, this is exciting, actually. This is real news. Unlike the fake news you see on YouTube. Who is this? Rachel. Rachel's got the news for us.
I wonder just what you make of this very last minute scramble of what we thought was going to proceed here with this relief bill.
Yeah, hey Rachel, thanks for having me on. I just don't understand why we're not printing more money. Like, we have a printing plant, right, that prints money. Just run the machines a couple of extra hours each night.
Oh gosh, we really do have the worst education in the world. I swear. I mean, I'm assuming this is maybe a troll, but I do actually think there are some people that think like this. They're like, hey, why don't you turn the money machines on longer? I guess rule number 8 is print more money. Not a bad rule, to be quite honest. Rule number 9.
So I bought a stock, but then it started going down, so I sold it. But then it started going up, so I bought it again. But then it started going down again. But I thought it would start going up again, so I bought more of it. But then it just kept going down, so I sold it again.
Hey, this is the relatable TikTok investor rule number 9. That's actually the opposite of rule number 1. This is invest high, sell low. So yeah, actually rule 1 and rule 9 are very fitting because they're sort of like the expectations versus reality. You think that you're just going to be able to perfectly time the market. And then the reality is this guy right here. Here's our last expert, okay, from TikTok. This guy apparently has 1 million subscribers, so we're saving the best for last, okay?
Hey, Xander, let me tell you a story. I need to be discreet about it, so let's call it Bitcoin.
Oh, so you're talking about Bitcoin. All right, got it.
Well, that's too obvious. Let's call it BitC. So one day, the rich people wanted to be more rich. So they made this thing up called a BitC, and they convinced the non-rich people that one day it'd be worth over 100,000.
Yeah, guys, that's what the rich people did. They convinced you all to invest early so then they could get in late. That's why all these banks are buying up Bitcoin. It's the rich conspiracy.
$1,000. So the non-rich people bought into it and made the rich people even more rich, even though it was completely made up.
Dude, I love the confidence of this guy. I'm just going to start walking around like this. Hey, guys. Hey, can you see this? Hey, so let me tell you what's going on. Every meeting from now on, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to need double the money. Listen, I want to be rich. You're non-rich. You're going to give me the money right now.
People discovered it was completely made up, so the price started going down. So what did the rich people do? They bought it back at a discount. But then they posted articles on Forbes and Yahoo saying it was going to be worth $500,000.
This is like a bad meme you'd see from 2017. You'd think this was from back then. No, dude, this was recently. This guy is an idiot. And you know what else? I looked into this guy. Curtis, he's not just hating on Bitcoin. He also hates S&P 500. He says a Roth IRA is a waste of your time. Guys, 1 million followers on TikTok. He says that's a waste of your time. What should you do instead? Index universal life insurance with his company. Everything's a scam. Index universal life with his company, not a scam. Open your mind.
Bought into it again, and the cycle of manipulation starts all over again.
I love how this guy is telling the story about how the non-rich are getting manipulated by the rich, when this is a rich guy who owns a company shilling this one type of financial product, and he's telling non-rich people, he's going, everyone needs to invest in what I'm doing, otherwise what they're doing is a scam. I love it. So step 10, sell your crappy investment product and everything else is a scam. S&P 500 scam, 401k scam, Roth IRA scam, Suncor's universal life insurance, that baby, hey, that's what I'm talking about. The MRI, you got to take out leverage, baby. Try to understand it, please. You can make 10% a year every year, baby. But either way, guys, whether you believe in Bitcoin or not, I don't really care. I mean, you can think it's a scam. I just find it funny that this guy's shilling his own product while saying everything else is a scam. But I hope you enjoyed these stock tips with TikToks. You know, these guys are the future of Wall Street. May God have mercy on our souls. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing I like more than watching entitled millionaires battle it out on the biggest game day of the year for supremacy in a contest that is largely superficial and meaningless. Now, of course, I kind of like skip past the game. I'm not as interested. Brady is the GOAT. But what I'm talking about is the ads. Guys, I don't know if you guys know this. You're busy making your $100 bet on who's going to win, right? We're talking about the bigger gamble is not the game itself. It's the ads. Guys, the money people are putting down just to have a 30-second ad spot has exploded in the Super Bowl's history. What used to cost $37,000 in 1967 now costs $5.5 million for the same amount of airtime, 30 seconds. So every second can make the difference between profit and a complete marketing budget disaster. So I thought it was only fair if we criticize them from our chairs, from our couches, right? Yes, we might not know anything about advertising. Yes, we may not have gone to school about advertising, but my favorite part about advertising is ultimately the people who matter is not the experts. It's the layman. It's people like me, the people sitting on their couch doing nothing, that decide whether a $5.5 million bet was worth it or not. So let's run through these. I crafted, handpicked some ads, the best and the worst. Let's get into it.
Don't think you're an investor? We make investments morning, noon, and wait, what time is it exactly? You don't need to become an investor.
No, it's a Robinhood commercial, guys. You guys know how I feel about Robinhood. Yeah, okay. I mean, just on the ad itself, not bad. But given their history of how this looks when they shut down trading because of liquidity and then they spend $5.5 million to tell you how they're for the common man, it's just a bad look optically. I'm just going to be honest. We're going to give that trash tier, D tier list. Next ad. Wow, this actually worked. If you're reading this, I got to pause it. It means our bet paid off. This is a 10-second ad or 8-second ad, so it's really short. Big game spots are expensive, so we couldn't buy a new one, but we were inspired and decided to spend our entire marketing budget on 5 seconds of airtime. Okay, 5 seconds. This is cool, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're advertising during the Super Bowl, the number one thing you need to do is stand out and be worth talking about. Who knows, maybe you'll be the reason that finance textbooks have to add a chapter on Tindies. Yes! Yeah, I think this is cool. I give this an A. Pretty awesome. I wouldn't say it's like that incredible because I bet a lot of people never watched it. They never saw it. But for people who are fans of Reddit already, it's kind of like a cool thing, kind of endearing, right? Next ad, we have Oatly.
It's like milk made for humans. Wow, wow, no cow. No, wow.
Incredible. This is a great commercial. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys that this was my favorite of the commercials that I saw during the Super Bowl. Now, I didn't get to watch all of them, so we may encounter some today in our recap that are better. But this, to me, is great. And what's funny is they didn't even make this commercial. So this has to go down as the best budget commercial because they didn't even, this is like a reshoot of a 2017 or something ad. Like it's like 3 years old. Nobody knows that though. They just throw it in the Super Bowl. They know that it's quirky, it's weird, but in all the right ways. I would say, yeah, this has to be S tier. This has to be like one of the big winners. Everyone's going to be talking about this because it's so different from what you're going to see with everything else. Up next, we've got an M&M commercial.
I feel bad for kicking your seat on purpose.
I'm sorry for mansplaining. That's when a man...
I know what it is. We should have just told you it's a boy.
I wish you didn't have to hear all that.
Sorry I called you Karen.
That's my name.
Sorry your name is Karen.
This is pretty good. Hey, you know what's funny is I was watching the Super Bowl. I thought a lot of these were duds. And then rewatching it just by themselves, actually, this is good. This is pretty funny.
I promise I will not eat any more of your friends.
Really?
Okay, it might happen one more time.
I'm going to be honest. I've never understood like the M&M humanoid thing. And some of this is obviously personal, right? It's obviously personal taste. But for me, this part where it's like, oh, we're just hanging out with humanoid M&Ms with legs and arms, that's a bit strange, right? So A for the first part, yeah, it just kind of falls off in the end. Up next, Jeep. Car commercials are always the most hit or miss. You know what I mean? What is this?
There's a chapel in Kansas.
standing on the exact center of the lower 48. It never closes. All are more than welcome to come meet here in the middle.
Okay, you know, I'm going to just tell you guys straight up, and this could be a personal thing. For me, if I'm watching the Super Bowl, I don't want a Sarah McLachlan ad, right? I don't want a sad, sappy ad. That just doesn't, for me, the reason people are watching the Super Bowl is not to reflect. It's not to go ahead and shed a tear. Nobody's trying to shed a tear on the Super Bowl thing. People are trying to have a good time and forget about their problems. This stuff, not good. Just try to be funny. Make us laugh. I'm not even going to finish this ad. I mean, like, what do they do at the end? They just go, oh, to the reunited states of America. Stop. Jeep.com. Because Jeep's reuniting the world? No. Loser. F tier. It's a new tier for this guy. Next up, Chipotle takes the swing.
What if this could change the world?
A burrito.
Yeah.
It can't.
It could. It could. It could change how we plant things and grow things. And improve the dirt where we grow those things. It could save water by changing how we use it.
Could it, though? I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about Chipotle. I know they're, like, for organic and stuff, but are they actually living up to all this stuff? It just sounds a little sanctimonious, you know, like... It's like saying, can Coffeezilla change the world? No. You know? Chipotle, hey, you can make their lunch slightly better. And that's if you can mix your burritos properly, because quite honestly, the last several times I've been there, you put the guacamole at the bottom of the burrito, and then at the very end, I paid extra, right? Chomping into that wok is a big old fat disappointment. So, quite frankly, can a burrito change the world? It can make my day worse. That's what it can do. I don't know. I just... Actually, the more I think about this, D tier, I don't like it. Next up, we got Amazon.
It's just flawless, isn't it?
We think so.
Yeah. I mean, I literally couldn't imagine a more beautiful vessel for Alexa to be inside. Alexa, how many tablespoons are in a cup?
There are 16 tablespoons in a cup.
Babe, food just got here. Why are you cooking? Who's that?
Alexa, turn on the sprinklers.
Honey, I already ran the sprinklers.
Bro, is my boy getting cucked by Michael B. Jordan? What is this commercial right now? It's like kind of funny, but what?
Things are getting way too wet around here.
Alexa, dim the lights.
But I'll save you.
Alexa, lights up. Alexa, lights up.
It's kind of funny. I don't know. A little bit weird, but funny though. Yeah, B. Good ad. I like this. It's good. It's funny. Next up, we got Bud Light, guys.
What a mess. Medieval people.
Oh.
Post Malone. Cedric.
It's like trying to be the Marvel.
Yes, I am.
The Marvel scene where they're all coming out of the portals, right? From the Avengers, right?
All right, Bud Light legends. Let's do this.
This might be a swing and a miss here. I don't know.
Bud Light. Going up.
High five!
You got it.
Oh!
That's good. That's a good moment.
I loved you, man.
Overall, though, I'm feeling like too much is going on. Like, it's like an idea that should have been 2 minutes long was packed into 1 minute. There's too many characters. Kind of confusing. I'm going to have to go ahead and give this maybe a C. I don't know. Next up, we got Tide. You guys know how I feel about Tide Super Bowl ads. Normally, very good. So I'm excited about this one.
Alexander hoodie.
It looks clean to me.
Is it though? Window.
I feel like I'm going to get copyright claims.
You owe Jason Alexander hoodie an apology.
Good. Super Bowl ads this year were a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that theme. Are they actually selling? Oh, that's funny. They did do a Jason Alexander hoodie. That's funny. I don't know, B. I'd say B. Not the greatest thing ever, but, you know, middle of the road, I would say. Up next, we got State Farm. Let's check it out.
Hey, Ratchets, look! I'm you! Jake from State Farm. You couldn't find a stand-in who looked anything like me?
Have you seen mine? It's like looking in a mirror, right?
Now, that one makes sense.
Look, guys, I don't even have a stand-in.
Of course you do. Hold on. Is that Drake?
That's right. Drake from State Farm. Like a good neighbor. Like a good neighbor. Stand-ins don't have lines.
Oh, okay.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I like that one. I don't know. I like that this is one of those ones where the cameos of celebrities didn't feel super forced, which I liked. In fact, I think any commercial where Drake is the butt of the joke, honestly going to get an A for me, straight up. What's next? Matthew McConaughey in a Doritos commercial, okay?
I haven't been feeling quite like myself. Life used to feel fuller.
Matthew? Matthew?
Some days are harder than others.
I want.
Oh, no. It's like I used to be on solid ground.
Did you drive here, or did you travel by fax?
I feel like they made the joke too long here. Like at first, it's like a funny idea, right? Oh, he's just like flat, but then they're just carrying it on. I'm already 30 seconds in, starting to get bored here.
I want to break free.
There's gotta be a way to get back.
I want to break free.
Oh no.
This
I sort of like the implication that Doritos is going to make you fatter. That's funny. I don't know if they're intending that, but it's like a funny idea. You used to be thin, now you're going to get fat.
Doritos, now in 3D.
Hashtag flat Matthew? What's the idea there? You think people are going to hashtag that? Nobody's hashtagging that. I don't know. When brands do forced hashtags, flat Matthew, no. I'll give this a B, I guess. Had some moments, right? All right, another one. Cheetos. Mila Kunis. All right.
Did you steal my Cheetos again?
Just tell him it wasn't you.
But I caught you at the counter.
Wasn't me.
Saw you snacking on the sofa.
Wasn't me.
There's a lot of layers here. I like this. Good callback.
You even had him in the shower.
It wasn't me.
I even caught you on camera.
You're the one who granted access to your...
Oh, buddy. I'd be worried if I were Ashton Kutcher that would be a meme. This is really walking the line between a good idea and jumping the shark here.
Fun snacking, guess you letter.
Well, did you?
Wasn't me.
Oh. Okay.
Well, that's the first time that's ever worked.
New Cheetos Crunch Pop Mix.
All right. Yeah. It's kind of a... Yeah, I wonder how much they spend on that. That's all I'm going to ask. How much did they spend to get Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, and Shaggy into that commercial? That's an expensive commercial. I think it probably paid off, right? I don't know. Not the best, not the worst. A B. Funny premise. I don't know if it supported an entire ad. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we got Rocket Mortgage. Let's see what these guys have. Tracy Morgan.
Can we even afford this house?
I'm pretty sure we can.
Pretty sure. With Rocket Mortgage, you can be certain. Not pretty sure. Let me show you. I'm pretty sure these aren't poisonous. I'm pretty sure these are parachutes.
Mine has a sandwich.
That's mine. I'm pretty sure you do not run. I'm pretty sure you can take Batista down. You're on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is trending.
Oh, YouTuber represents here. Liza Koshy. All right. How much do you get paid for that? By the way, this is a good ad. Good ad. I didn't want to take that away from it. You're on this frame for 1 second, second and a half. I wonder how. I'd say $1,000.
Trending.
I'm pretty sure these hornets aren't the murdering type.
Good. This is good. This is what you like to see in a Super Bowl ad. It's all light. It's fun. It's kind of, making fun of yourself a little bit. It's good.
I'm pretty sure we can make it.
Yeah.
Let's go with certain.
Good choice.
S tier. S tier. That's good. Right in the pocket. It's funny, but it's also relevant to the ad. You know, I like that. Now for my controversial take of the day. This is probably my least favorite ad, but it seems to have been well received.
The story of a boy with scissors for hands. No, not that one.
Edgar, you're gonna be late.
This one. My son, Edgar.
Bye, sweetie.
Now, I'm not trying to be a nitpicker or a hater here, but my biggest problem with this was I kind of thought during the commercial, like, does anybody remember Edward Scissorhands? It's like a weird, long-lost reference, and I don't know if it's that culturally relevant anymore. So that was making me think the whole time, like, it's just kind of weird to bring up some random reference in the middle of a $5.5 million commercial, you know?
How magnets of opposite poles can actually... Yo, Edgar!
You're gonna touch a lot of people.
Thank you. Hey, buddy. Can we stick with the menu?
Open. Go ahead, try it. And Edgar drove off into the sunset.
You know, not bad execute. I felt like this is probably the best you could have executed this idea. It's self-deprecating. It's well shot. It's a little bit funny, but I don't know. Is it a good car commercial? Is it a good reference? No. I'm going to guess that people are going to disagree with that one. I know you guys are, because I just have a sense for these things. You guys are going to like that one, but for me personally, I'm going to say D tier. D tier for me. Are people excited about the Cadillac lyric after this? I don't think so. That's it. That's all we're doing, guys. There are more commercials, kind of a lot of mediocre in the mix, I've got to say. Wasn't the best Super Bowl, wasn't the worst as far as ads go. Kind of a lot of it was run of the mill, you know, average stuff. And it's incredible to me with $5.5 million how bad some of them are, though. Like the Jeep commercial, that's got to take the cake for the absolute bomb of the night. Now, as far as the best commercials, I'd have to go ahead and go with you're gonna have to go with No Cow. Liked it. Funny, weird, in all the right ways. They just pulled it off. With a close second, going to Rocket Mortgage with Tracy Morgan. That was hilarious. Good efforts, boys. Interested to see what you guys think. Let me know what you think. I want to know what you guys think was the funniest ad. Oh, and the Reddit ad was pretty cool, too. Honorable mention of that. But that's it. Sorry this is coming out on a Tuesday. I know we normally do Marketing Mondays, but the turnaround time, not fast enough. So I hope you enjoy anyways. I'll catch you next time. See ya.
I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick trying to sell me on a dream, but that was where you lost me. Wake up and smell the coffee. I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick trying to sell me on a dream, but that was where you lost me.
The psychology of the criminal mind has fascinated people forever. Books about true crime, shows about fake crimes, all the crimes, we love it. We love watching it all unfold, right? But at a time when I thought I'd seen it all, one case drew me back in and reminded me why these investigations are so addictive. It's a case with a twist, where the scammers actually turn on one another, and the psychology of why they did it just hooked me. It was so ridiculous when I first heard it that I decided to dig deeper and just break it down for your viewing pleasure. Our story starts a few days ago when I was just minding my own business, watching the Clinton News Network, when suddenly I heard an update on Instagram star Hush Puppy.
An Instagram influencer who posted pictures of his lavish lifestyle could spend the next 20 years in a prison cell. Ramon Abbas, aka Hush Puppy, has pleaded guilty to money laundering in a U.S. federal court.
Now, okay, if you're a longtime Zilla holder, pump the stock, you know that we've covered Hush Puppy before when he went to jail. But the details on this case we haven't covered. Let me set the stage for you. Hush Puppy, real name Raymond Abbas, was able to flex on Instagram and gain millions of followers based on the appearance of being a successful real estate mogul. In reality, it was because he ran something called a BEC scheme. It's a type of confidence scam where you convince someone to send you money because you impersonate some kind of business email. In this case, Hush Puppy was pretending to be a Wells Fargo banker, and Hush Puppy convinced his victim that he could get him a $15 million loan to build a school in Qatar. This is the case he was charged on. Now, maybe this victim wanted to save the kids, I don't know. But how this thing worked is they tricked the victim into sending money first because they said there were taxes on this multi-million-dollar loan. And you might be asking yourself, how in the world did they get anyone to fall for this? Well, complex scams like this aren't easy to pull off. You need tons of fake proof of your identity. And Hush Puppy had a few people he recruited to his team to help pull off this deception. The first was a guy named Juma, who pretended to be from Kenya and provided the loan. He was the source. Hush Puppy was Malik, a banker at Wells Fargo. And they also had a third guy, Vincent, the tech guy. He set up phony Wells Fargo websites and even a fake Wells Fargo automated phone number, all to convince the victim that he really did receive a loan. And on the surface, this fateful job was going off like any other. They'd already convinced the victim to send hundreds of thousands of dollars to them. But behind the scenes, things were getting a little rocky with the team. Vincent, the third man, he was upset. He wasn't happy with how much he was being paid or how fast he was getting paid. And he decides, you know what? This scheme isn't that hard for those other guys. You know, he was the one doing all the work, setting up the tech. Why not cut Hush Puppy and Juma out of the deal? And so he contacts their victim and tells them, hey, you're being scammed. That's right. He basically says, I'm here to help you. If you just start redirecting those scam payments to me, I'll save you from the scammers. Now, at the time, Juma and Hush Puppy didn't know this, but they were also planning to cut Vincent out. So imagine their surprise when the word got out to them that they had been beaten to the punch. Now they were the ones being cut out. And guess what? They're outraged. On January 16th, 2020, Hush Puppy then decides it's time to take things to the next level, and he threatens Vincent. I swear with my life, you will regret messing with me. You will even wish you died before my hands will touch you. And that same day, Hush Puppy also contacts a fixer. This is someone who solves inconvenient problems. In this case, it's Nigeria's Deputy Commissioner, Abba Kyari. And if you're in disbelief right now, yes, a scammer just called the police on another scammer. But this isn't just any cop. Kyari was known as a super cop, and this guy was bad news. He used to be part of SARS, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, which got disbanded after its many abuses of power in Nigeria. And so this is the guy Hush Puppy calls, and he simply tells him the truth. Hush Puppy said Vincent contacted the job to divert the job for himself. And he didn't pretend it wasn't a scam. They both knew they're talking about a scam job. But according to the court record, Hush Puppy asked Kyari to have the police pick this guy up and give him the serious beating of his life. That's a quote. He also told the corrupt cop, I will take care of the team also after they pick him up, meaning pay off the whole team of cops. Kyari confirmed, yes. 4 days later, Hush Puppy gets sent a picture of this guy, Vincent. He's been arrested. The cop had done his job. Hush Puppy tells Kyari, let me know how I can send money to the team, sir. Let them deal with him like an armed robber. Kyari responded, okay, I will send their account details to you. Hush Puppy also wrote, and this is the part that I just cannot wrap my mind around. He betrayed me and tried to take food out of my mouth. This is great punishable sin. I want him to suffer for many years. Kyari responded, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Now, okay. This is the part my brain can't understand. A scammer just told a cop to throw the book at someone who stole money from him, while also himself stealing money from people overseas. And we know that he planned to steal money even from Vincent, his partner. So he's mad and thinks it's evil to steal from your partner while also stealing from his partner. It doesn't make any sense. And this is the thing, like when he eventually got caught, I wonder, I'd love to know what he had told the judge. Like, did he beg for mercy after wanting to let his partner rot in a jail cell on trumped up charges? Like, I don't know. This is just such a dark story of really ugly people who ultimately got caught. But the reason they were eventually captured is likely in part due to this falling out they had. I can't say I feel bad for them. I just wish I knew why they couldn't see themselves for how they truly are. Bad people. I don't know. I think I need to talk this out with somebody.
Hey, welcome back. Can I interest you in a limited special, Barb's Dew? It's aged like fine wine.
No, nothing today. I actually just need to ask you a question.
Okay, yes, I leaked those texts, but I was doing society a service. That's illegal in the state of Virginia, you know.
What are you talking about? I was just gonna ask you why no one sees themselves as evil.
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask me about my threat on Kiwi Farms.
No, I don't even know what that is. I'm asking because I'm stumped in this case with Hush Puppy. I mean, look, he blatantly stole money from people, but then when he gets money stolen from him, he gets angry about it. Like, can't he see he's the bad guy?
Well, speaking strictly psychologically, this phenomena has been around for a while. Ever hear the story of Two Gun Crowley?
No, but it sounds like a badass bad guy name.
Yeah, but that's just it. This guy didn't see himself as a bad guy. Even though he killed people, he later wrote a letter that said, "Under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm."
Do you think he actually believed that?
I have no idea. But the way I see it, this Hush Puppy probably thinks the same way. They see all their own faults as forgivable, and other people's actions as unforgivable. That's just the way it is. Colloquially, I believe you humans refer to them as giant assholes.
Huh, that's actually pretty insightful.
Thanks. But with that out of the way, can we finally talk about Chris Chan? I've been dying to talk about Chris Chan.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All the promises you made.
Today, a $7 billion money laundering service just got shut down by the United States. Many crypto advocates say this is an attack against their privacy, while crypto skeptics say it's about time. As for my opinion, I'm torn about Tornado Cash. Let me explain. Tornado Cash is a website and smart contract that would describe itself as a privacy tool. Many people like myself who investigate fraud, though, have seen it used primarily as a money laundering tool. But what's the truth? Well, Tornado Cash is a bit of code that has one job. It takes your money in and hides where it's going. It does this by mixing it together with a bunch of other people's money, thereby making it untraceable. Hence why Tornado Cash is called a crypto mixer, which obviously, if you're a criminal, sounds very appealing. Because think about it. On a blockchain where everything is traceable and public, Tornado Cash represents a break in that chain. Which is why anytime there's a hack, like for example, the $620 million Axie Infinity hack, you'll usually hear the name Tornado Cash getting thrown around because that's how criminals hide their funds. And because it's used by criminals so much, the US Treasury put Tornado Cash on a special list called the SDN list, which is the ultimate banned list. It's what Russian oligarchs go on, the ultimate blacklist at a party, except that party is the global financial system. And what it means is that everyone's forbidden from interacting with people or things on this list, which means if you now send money to Tornado Cash, you could be liable as a criminal and be put in jail for up to 30 years. And so far, all of this makes sense, right? Who doesn't want to put the bad guys away and stop them? But what makes this story very tricky is that while the US government implies that only criminals use Tornado Cash, that just isn't true. Anyone who wants to conceal their money might want crypto mixers, and it isn't just the bad guys. In fact, according to Chainalysis, 10% of the funds sent to Tornado Cash were stolen. Another 17% came from sanctioned sources, which probably is a bit conservative. But even so, that means that 27% of these funds are essentially criminal, but then the rest, a lot of it, is not criminal. So why would a normal person need to use Tornado Cash? Well, assuming most of us are past the fifth grader argument of, if you have nothing to hide, why do you need privacy? It basically boils down to wanting the government and society out of your house, your life, and of course, your money. Which is why there are many pro-privacy arguments to be made in favor of Tornado Cash and why it was helpful. Like, just ask yourself, assuming a crypto future where everything is on chain, do you really want anyone to be able to see everything you buy? Do you really want that anime body pillow to be public information? Do you want your donation to a dissident political figure to be public? Do we really think that governments can always be trusted? Obviously, the answer to all of those is no. So now that we've gone over the negatives and positives of crypto mixers, what do we do? Well, the answers aren't easy because while crypto used to be the wild, wild west, if you actually expect regular people and grandmas to use it, you have to take the scam and fraud problem really seriously. And Tornado Cash is a huge part of that problem. You can't just expect the government to sit back and watch as billions of dollars get sent through untraceable pools of money. So there's a balance I think we're heading for. like it or not. And to be honest, it's not perfect, but here it is. You fundamentally need the government to be able to investigate crime, and you also need privacy for your citizens. But ultimately, this is not a binary, it's a balance, because this doesn't work if it goes too far in either direction. If the government can just surveil people all the time, theoretically, they could fight crime perfectly. But nobody wants a surveillance state. And on the other extreme, if the government could never investigate a crime because everyone had maximum privacy, crime rates would skyrocket, and nobody wants that future either. So the balance has to be a reasonable expectation of privacy, but if you're implicated in a crime, law enforcement has to be able to investigate it. And this is already how most of the world works. Your banks, for example, the government can't just search your accounts, they need evidence and they need a warrant. So you have a reasonable expectation to privacy, but it's not perfect privacy. And that's sort of the problem with Tornado Cash, is that it's too good at its job. There are no warrants available for Tornado Cash, no investigation tools, nothing that can trace funds sent through a mixer. That money is gone, even if you can 100% prove that it was stolen, which is why I think the banning of Tornado Cash was inevitable, like it or not. The dream of perfect privacy just can't coexist in a world where criminals will abuse that perfect privacy for fraud and scams. Now, right as I was going to finish this video, I did discover a final M. Night Shyamalan twist to this whole saga. The users of Tornado Cash have started to get a little sassy and started sending tiny amounts of ETH to a ton of wallets, including famous wallets like Jimmy Fallon, Steve Aoki, and Logan Paul, presumably to make it so difficult to figure out who's the real money launderers that it becomes impossible to implicate anyone. Now, will all these crypto influencers go to jail for 30 years for this? No, obviously not, but it is pretty funny. And it shows that they can take away your right to buy an anime body pillow in private. They can take away your right to money launder in private, but they can never take away your sense of humor about it.
These gurus have a huge conflict of interest because most of them want to sell you information. So they want to convince you. They have a vested interest in convincing you that the Amazon opportunity is this incredible thing and you can make, anybody can do it and whatever. And it's just not true. I have none of that vested interest, so I feel like I'm a pretty unbiased party. So what does the Amazon income opportunity actually look like? Well, let's go through it. So there's this great website called Market Pulse where they do Amazon analytics, and they put together this great sheet that basically shows you how much people are making. So there are 6 million sellers on Amazon, including the inactive ones. They estimate that there's probably 2.5 million active sellers with products for sale. So people who are trying to do it, this would be you. Of those 2.5 million, only 200,000 of them will be making $100,000 in sales this year. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, 200,000 out of 2.5 million isn't a lot, but $100,000 in sales, that sounds pretty good. Well, this is the problem. Sales revenue doesn't equal profit. Sales revenue really couldn't matter less. Profit is what you take home. It's the part that you keep. After expenses for product, paid advertising, market research, this gets whittled down to anywhere between 10 to 25% of that. That's your profit margin. People often overestimate how much they're going to make in profit margin. I would say a conservative estimate, being on the conservative side, let's say you're making a 15% profit margin. That means that out of that $100,000 in sales, the exceptional people on Amazon selling third party are making roughly $15,000 a year. To put that into context, that's about the salary of a full-time McDonald's employee. But McDonald's guarantees they will make that. Amazon, there's no guarantee. In fact, making that is the exception, not the rule, which is something I want to stress. It's so easy to feel like, oh, well, of course I'm exceptional. Of course, everyone thinks that. Everyone who starts Amazon FBA, most of them are looking for a full-time income. And of that, so I crunched the numbers for you guys so you could see really the percentages. I use those same numbers and I just crunched percentages of what percent of those people are making it. 8.25% of people who start Amazon FBA, who are current active members, will make $15,000 a year. That is pretty terrible. But let's say you do $250,000 in sales. Now you're getting closer to a full-time income because that roughly gets out to about $40,000 a year. 4% of sellers achieve this. Only 4%, guys. 4%. That is roughly, because I made a little fun fact sheet, the salary of a Costco employee. For a plumber, they make about $55,000 a year. To make that equivalent with Amazon, you're roughly going to have to be making around $400,000 to $500,000 in sales to be making around $55,000 a year, assuming a 15% profit margin. Now, about 2% of sellers achieve that. And we just go down the list because Amazon likes to tout around a lot that it has 20,000 plus people making over $1 million a year with Amazon sales. But they don't tell you that $1 million a year in sales is really only like $150,000 a year, which of course, is that a lot? Yes, but that's not $1 million a year. It's not even close. And it just goes on and on. What you end up finding out is that selling on Amazon, like most things, follows a Pareto distribution, right? It follows this distribution right here. It just slopes way down. So with a Pareto distribution, assume that you're going to be in this camp and then find out, are you happy with it? Are you happy with being the majority, where the majority is not even making $15,000 a year? That's the reality with Amazon FBA. If you join Amazon FBA, you're probably not going to make $15,000 a year. If you do very well and you're in the top 10%, you're probably making about $15,000, $20,000 a year. If you do even better than that, and maybe you're in the top 4%, now you're making $40,000 a year. You're making what a Costco employee makes. At the top 4%. Amazon didn't get where they were by paying their employees a lot. They got where they were by being ruthless and slashing costs everywhere they can. So you can bet that in the future, they're going to try to shrink profit margins down as low as they can. So don't expect to be making millions of dollars with Amazon. And on that note, because all these laptop lifestyle gurus always want to talk about millions, let's find out how much do you need to be making millions? Well, you need to be roughly doing $5 million to $10 million in sales to make $1 million in actual profit. But you have about a 0.04% chance of doing that. And this isn't even getting into the fact that a lot of these sellers who do huge numbers are selling their own product. They're not FBAing from Alibaba to Amazon. A lot of those people have private labels. They're making modifications to the product. They have a whole team. Guys, the biggest thing I want to tell you today is that this really isn't the business opportunity that a lot of these gurus are telling you that it is. They're overrepresenting it to sell you a course and to get rich off of you. That's how they're getting rich, by the way. They're not getting rich from selling on Amazon. They're getting rich from you. You're better off going to start your own guru course than ever doing this Amazon FBA thing. I think you're a lot more likely to make millions doing that. So anyways, I just wanted to give you guys that little Amazon reality check. So just be careful. Know what you're getting yourself into. Know the numbers. I'll put this spreadsheet up for you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.
What entrepreneurship industry actors mainly do is to increase confidence. Maybe the way to say it is that it's building up confidence more than it's building up competence. Success in entrepreneurship is just incredibly unlikely. Yeah. It is rare, right? That is one thing that we know for like a real fact in social science. It's really rare. Maybe we should start thinking about entrepreneurship as something we engage in through critical experiments where we try to disprove our idea, right? Instead of saying, let me take this idea and see if I can make it work. You should do experiments that sort of prove out that the idea does not work. And if it turns out the idea does not work, you should get out of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coffeezilla. Today we are talking to someone I've been kind of a fan of his work for a long time, but finally I get to sit down and talk with him. This is Dr. Hartman of the Copenhagen Business School. He is an associate professor, and he wrote a paper about the, I'm going to totally mess this up, the Veblennian entrepreneur, AKA, I just want to say, because I want to call it this during this show, the wantrepreneur sort of thing. And it's towards an unentrepreneurial economy, the entrepreneurship industry, and the rise of the Veblennian entrepreneur. can you summarize that idea for us real quick? Because I think it's a really interesting concept.
Yeah. So thank you for the introduction, Stephen, by the way.
Absolutely. Thanks for
and thank you for the opportunity. So the Veblendian entrepreneur is or let's call it the wantrepreneur, that's fine too, is our effort to sort of put a label on what I think a lot of people are seeing, right? The fact that there are people starting entrepreneurship, not so much with the intention of actually becoming innovation-driven entrepreneurs, but more actually to just sort of engage in the entrepreneurial lifestyle and to build up the kind of identity that comes with that. So basically, is entrepreneurship pursued for identity purposes, not productive purposes?
You guys have all seen this at whether it's your university, you've seen it at some coffee shops. It's a lot of times people are pursuing entrepreneurship just to sort of tell you that they're an entrepreneur kind of idea, like the whole thing of like, I'm a CEO. Well, when did your company start? Well, yesterday. And you're like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. And part of your paper argues, you're trying to, if I understand it right, you're trying to explain a set of sort of problems or ideas in the field, one of which is that, okay, we see that entrepreneurship leads to all sorts of good things in the economy, but largely this is driven by a few companies. And then you also see that, oh, well, actually there's the sort of the failing entrepreneurs or people who kind of have undersized results. And there's people like Amazon, Apple, all these companies that are driving the majority of the US economy. You're saying that it's actually becoming more prevalent and you're getting more and more sort of failing entrepreneurs entering the ecosystem as proportional to their like successful counterparts. And you're wondering why, and you're sort of saying there's this industry around entrepreneurs. Is that basically the idea?
Yes, and that's causing a particular kind of entrepreneurial firm to pop up. And the kind of firm that is causing to pop up is what we call Veblendian entrepreneurs or wantrepreneurs. So basically, it's not our observation that the quality of entrepreneurship is falling. That's from other work, which is referenced in the paper, but basically finding that like people tend to think that the US is incredibly entrepreneurial, and that's actually not the case by international standards. Entrepreneurship is also becoming more rare in the US. There are fewer and fewer entrepreneurial companies in the sense that there are fewer startups. And the quality of those startups is declining, right?
All bad things.
All bad things. As you say, it's true that there are like entrepreneurial companies play a potentially very big role in the economy, right? There's things that entrepreneurial companies do that established companies don't do. So economic dynamism is very much dependent on having well-functioning entrepreneurship, right? But that seems to be becoming more rare. And there are all sorts of explanations that you could have for that. You might say that, for instance, incumbent market power is increasing, right? So Google, Facebook, and Amazon are basically buying up and closing down all the really potentially promising entrepreneurial companies before they become big, right? That's one vision of it. The other is that there's just fewer good ideas to go around, right? That the good ideas are getting harder to find. And you could also say that entrepreneurship education maybe is getting worse, right? So entrepreneurs are more poorly prepared for entrepreneurship. You might say something about venture capital not working very well. All of those arguments are valid. And social science is such that usually things are really complex and things interact. The thing that we're saying with that paper is that our understanding of the decline in entrepreneurial quality has not taken into account that there has been this really rapidly growing and by now quite large entrepreneurship industry, which are companies that target entrepreneurs as their consumers, right? And purportedly help entrepreneurs to identify and develop ideas into profitable businesses.
Let's maybe expand on the types of like sort of entrepreneur help that one might see in this industry, right?
Yes. So there are different things, right? You mentioned that people will have seen this at their universities, right? Many universities now have sort of these entrepreneurship hubs, right? that could be classed as a kind of entrepreneurship industry. This is something which is marketing to entrepreneurs to try to help them. There's a lot of academic writing on this. Books by academics, books by practitioners, like experienced entrepreneurs who then give advice. There's a lot of sort of, you would call it back office support for entrepreneurs, right? We'll do your accounting, we'll do your legal, we'll do your admin. There are lots of entrepreneurship conferences, expos. There's lots of online media.
Like Shark Tank, stuff like that. Like
Shark Tank on television. And then there's also like the Dutch type of business magazine, right? Wired, Fast Company, things like that. And basically a heap of books that you can get off of Amazon or anywhere else that will talk you about, tell you about how to become a successful entrepreneur.
Sure.
Right? So there's a whole sort of suite of this that all sort of pretends to help entrepreneurs, right? Plus, of course, there are college courses, incubators, accelerators, things associated with venture capital as well. All sorts of things that are sort of trying to do this, promoting entrepreneurs, helping them identify opportunities, and turning opportunities into valuable businesses, right?
And this is why I wanted to talk to you, because I read this paper and I said, oh my gosh, this intersects with a lot of what I talk about. I mean, obviously, sometimes I'm talking about outright scams, but a lot of times I'm talking about people who are sort of proposing that, oh, if you're wanting to go into Facebook ads or, you know, making a little Amazon store or, starting an idea, come to us. We're going to help you if you just pay some nominal fee. And they make their living by basically taking these fees. So they're basically piggybacking on the entrepreneurship industry and saying, like, we are helping you guys become better, which is a fascinating and take. And there could be a role for that if they are indeed making entrepreneurs better. But it seems like there's this, we actually see entrepreneurship quality, as you say, declining. And so,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's like in a gold rush, right? It's always good to sell shovels, and you need somebody to sell shovels.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
For sure. Otherwise, there will be no digging. The thing about the entrepreneurship industry, I mean, we don't know a whole lot about this from research, but what we do know suggests that what entrepreneurship industry actors mainly do is to increase confidence. They increase people's confidence in their ability to become entrepreneurs. So they enter, right? We can see that if you consume more goods from the entrepreneurship industry, you tend to become an entrepreneur at higher rates.
Right.
But the performance of those ventures that consume the most goods from the entrepreneurship industry tends to be lower.
Wow. That is really interesting. So you're getting people who sort of, you're encouraging people to join, and that's successful. They're successful at that, but it's maybe not so successful, or it's demonstrably not as successful at getting them to succeed. And in fact, maybe it's encouraging people to go into the entrepreneurship industry who maybe should not be going into it.
Who, at least, or maybe the way to say it is that it's building up confidence more than it's building up competence.
That's a great way to say it.
That might be a way to say it.
Right. Yeah. And one thing you talk about is like, also entrepreneurs, part of this new thing is it's not entrepreneurship necessarily as, a job as much as it is an identity. And the way you get that identity is by buying stuff instead of doing. Like it used to, maybe you would think that you'd become an entrepreneurship by doing, but actually there's some people are trying to become entrepreneurs almost by buying.
I think that's the, right. So there are a couple of things going on. I think the fact that we have this celebration of entrepreneurs, right? I mean, I think that's uncontroversial, that entrepreneurship is one of the most celebrated things you can probably do, right? Yeah. And entrepreneurs are some of the most celebrated actors in the economy. Mm-hmm. That makes it possible to benefit from entrepreneurship simply by being an entrepreneur. Like having a company sort of get you into good company, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that it's infinitely better to tell your parents that you are working on your startup than it is to work as a barista, which might actually pay you more because the entrepreneurship thing could actually pay you nothing, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is that because there is an entrepreneurship industry, that provides goods and services, it becomes possible to consume those goods and services to do things that are similar to what you might call real entrepreneurs, right? I say that in scare quotes, right?
Yeah.
You can consume your way into an entrepreneurial identity because we have somehow separated the being an entrepreneur from the success of the endeavor, right? And that makes a lot of sense, actually. Like that's not unreasonable because success in entrepreneurship is just incredibly unlikely.
Yeah.
It is rare, right? That is one thing that we know for like a real fact in social science. It's really rare. And so to say that you can only be an entrepreneur if you're successful would make no sense because then there'd be a huge category of people who would basically like lack a category. So that makes some sense, but that at the same time becomes an excuse for something which is more insidious. And that is that you can basically be in this consumption practice and that can make you an entrepreneur.
And that is useless to the economy. I mean, there's nothing useful going on there other than you're just spending money on things that aren't necessarily making you do anything, right? Because you're just it's just a consumption at that point of just
the short answer is that it's totally unproductive, right? I mean, the term Veblendian entrepreneurship, some people might have had econ classes where they've heard about Veblen goods, which is basically the technical jargon for luxury goods, things that get more desirable the more expensive they get. So oysters, champagne, cars, racehorses, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So there's a way in which, because people don't use it for the, right? Nobody really likes oysters, right? But people like the social signaling that eating expensive oysters can give them. So the fact that this thing is expensive is part of the value, right? The functional value is unimportant. And that's some of the idea here. It's the social signaling that is valuable to people. It's not the value that the company produces.
And that's so interesting because a lot of what I see, there are valuations for certain courses, masterminds, these coaching calls that their cost seems to have nothing to do with any kind of objective metric. It's like, oh, how much is your mastermind? I believe them just as much if they said 2,500 as 2,500,000. Sorry, not 2,500, 250,000. Because of the fact, and I've heard both, by the way, from different people. I was on a Clubhouse room last night where this hypnotist was telling us that he charges $300,000 for coaching. And it's just ridiculous. You're just thinking, well, who would buy this? But what you're saying is that there's a whole type of person who they sort of see, oh, the more it costs, the more I can signal that I'm the type of person who can afford these kind of things. Therefore, I must sort of be a big deal in a way that you'd buy a super expensive Rolex, even if you don't really like watches, because it's more about signaling that you sort of have the thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's where the value comes from, right? And what we're saying is that there are people who become entrepreneurs who might have a sense that they are not going to be, who have a sense that they might not be particularly likely to create enormous value, but who will still benefit from being just in the category. I mean, most people know that one does not just start a biotech company, right? But one can be an entrepreneur. You just need basically a pitch deck.
And you can kind of say that you're starting a biotech company, right? We saw that with Theranos.
Yes.
We saw somebody just start a biotech company, and we saw, the hype bubble form around it where people just go, oh, well, this must be the next big thing because they're excited. Meanwhile, all the scientists are saying there's no way. There's just no way. And everybody else in Silicon Valley is like, Elizabeth Holmes, you're doing such a good job. Blah, blah, blah. And that's, we're sort of parroting the idea, but it is true that there is sort of an encouragement at all costs, positivity at all costs of this kind of field. And like you said, rightfully so, sometimes because there's so much failure that's faced, that sort of is maybe the initial impetus. But at the end of your paper, you say there might be a good reason to discourage people out of entrepreneurship. What did you mean by that?
Okay, so some of the uncertainty that surrounds entrepreneurship, you can't get around, right? It was not obvious that there was a business to be built on renting out spare rooms in your house, right? And yet Airbnb became a thing, right? There was uncertainty that you couldn't sort of reduce without trying. So what I would suggest is that we start, right, a lot of the hoo-ha celebration of entrepreneurship that you also mentioned sort of says, just go and try it, right? So I think especially as entrepreneurship educators, we should maybe say, you know, you really need to know that there's a downside to this. You really need to know that success is very unlikely. So we should, so in that alone should sort of make you say, maybe you shouldn't do it. Once though, I mean, but still people will have ideas that it's hard to gauge whether they are valuable or not, and it's hard to gauge whether people will be capable or incapable of executing them, right? There are situations where you won't know. And so I think the approach there is to say, okay, maybe it's worth trying, but then set up, and this is not my idea, this is from a team out of Bocconi University in Milan. We're saying, maybe we should start thinking about entrepreneurship as something we engage in through critical experiments, where we try to disprove our idea, right? Instead of saying, let me take this idea and see if I can make it work, right? You should do experiments that sort of prove out that the idea does not work. And if it turns out the idea does not work, you should get out of it. So sort of flipping the burden of evidence around, instead of saying, let me prove that this is great, right? Assume that the idea is not good. Work as hard as you can to make it good, and then do an experiment to test out whether you should just abandon it.
And here's why that's really important, because one of the things that is the real challenge of entrepreneurship is that part of what's lionized is going through the valley of death of like, this idea is not working, right? The problem with that is you have no idea of whether that valley of death has any kind of meaningful end for your company. So you have people who are sort of persisting in their failure and going, oh, this is what an entrepreneur goes through, when maybe they should persist, but more than likely in a lot of these cases, they should exit once they've like kind of gotten their minimal viable product. They realize there's no audience for this, no consumers, get out. So I do appreciate you really saying that. And because we want to give people who are hungry for, they're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur or whatever, the best tools for doing that in a way that's meaningful. What I always tell people is you should know the statistics. It shouldn't discourage you from doing it, but you need to know what the real odds are. Now let's talk about the cost of entrepreneurship real quick.
Yeah, because I think this is actually underappreciated.
I totally
the fact that there are so many costs to entrepreneurship. So just sort of the baseline one, right? I hear a lot of students saying, it'll be great for my CV to be an entrepreneur. And actually the evidence is quite the opposite. It's actually not easier to get a job when you have entrepreneurial experience. It's the opposite. It's harder, right? And there are lots of reasons for that have to do with organizations often wanting people to be specialized.
Right.
And I would say also, if I was an organization, I probably wouldn't want somebody who was a specialist in failing and very comfortable with failing. I would want people who didn't take huge risk, right? That's one part. The other part is that people who become entrepreneurs actually have lower lifetime earnings than people who have like steady wage employment.
You are blowing my audience's mind right now, by the way.
Yeah, okay. So this is an underappreciated fact. And the same actually goes for working in a startup. Working in a startup does not lead to higher lifetime earnings. And Stephen, I mean, we can put the links to the data for this in the show notes.
Please, let's do that.
Because that's actually a real thing, right? Your earnings are generally lower, whether you are an entrepreneur or whether you just work in a startup.
Because by the way, I want to be clear. The big idea is in a lot of these cases is, hey, the 9-to-5 is holding you down. You need to escape the rat race by becoming an entrepreneur. You need to escape that, live the lifestyle you are meant for with yachts, champagne, and Lamborghinis by going to become an entrepreneurship. And you know what's going to help you? Whether it be a course or whatever form of entrepreneur help, the entrepreneur help. And they get people in, the people aren't successful, and either they quit and they go back to their job, just sort of worse for the wear, or they just like persist and they keep beating their head against the same wall and maybe go buy a bunch of other products. So I do think this is so important for people to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things, right? We know that, not to be like super technical, but the distribution of entrepreneurial outcomes is such that the average doesn't actually tell you anything, because all the gains from or not all the gains, but most of the gains are concentrated in a very few super winners, right? And lots of people who are just getting zero, right? The economics of this are a little bit like professional sports or music, right? There are some people who take home all the earnings and lots of people who don't, right? So average is not particularly informative.
Yeah, if you take the average between myself and Jeff Bezos, we both have an income of, or $1 billion net worth. That means nothing for me, right? And that's your point. Yeah. Very true. Okay, so how can people take that?
There are more costs that I think are worth mentioning.
Go ahead.
Right?
Give us the bad news.
It gets
Give us
worse.
the bad news before you do good news.
Also, it seems to be the case that entrepreneurs take more antidepressants and psychoactive drugs, right? Not in the illicit sense, but in the
I understand clinical,
yeah, because entrepreneurship is incredibly stressful, right? Mm-hmm. If you were prone to depression, anxiety, things like that, it gets worse. And if you weren't prone, there's a good chance that it can push you over the edge. Often the uncertainty and insecurity that comes with being an entrepreneur, if you're not particularly successful, and the anxiety that comes with it if you are, right? Because you have employees who you're responsible to, it actually takes quite a strong toll on people's private lives as well. So divorce rates are higher, for instance, and probably just like relational strain all around, right? And you can see how this can be sort of compounded when we're dealing with not just failed innovation-driven entrepreneurship, but this sort of entrepreneur thing, right? Because there's some sort of, right, you can imagine how your partner, who might be supportive of you trying something and being very sincere about it, might support you as you're trying to build something and just not succeeding. But if your partner is seeing through this, right, and seeing that this is just identity work, you can imagine how that strain gets stronger. And you can imagine how once you start reflecting, once you've had a straight streak of failure, and you see yourself as an entrepreneur, the psychological trauma can be sort of quite a lot stronger. And actually some of the depressing but interesting commentary on the paper after it came out has been from people saying like, I was a Veblennian entrepreneur and it hurt me, right? So some pretty heart-wrenching essays that I've been reading on that.
Guys, in the comments, please put, if you were a wantrepreneur, say, raise your hand, say, I was a wantrepreneur. We want to know. So go ahead.
So basically those are sort of the big things, right? We'll be testing this out, of course, more empirically over the coming years, but the facts of the matter are that entrepreneurship is it's not a great profession, right? It is sort of like trying to become a rock star NBA player, right? It's very unlikely to succeed. Lots of downside risk.
Yeah, and most people ignore the downside risk because there's this incredible lionization of the entrepreneurship life, right? You've got just a constant bombardment of successful people, and you almost never hear from the people who don't succeed because they are by definition sort of excluded out from the success magazine. And so you think to yourself, well, wow, look, it looks pretty great. Looks pretty awesome to be an entrepreneur. And I really appreciate you saying that. Also, people should go look up. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs, even people that everyone thinks of as like the most inspirational, like people think like Elon Musk, the GOAT, all that kind of stuff. He's the guy who's saying, hey, unless you like chewing glass, maybe don't be an entrepreneur. I mean, like, I think he said something like to that effect, like it's really, really, really tough. And he's right about that.
And even then, right? I mean, even if you look at really successful companies, it becomes quite obvious that the fact that they were successful, of course, it has something to do with them having some talent. And,
of course.
But they also got lucky, right? If you look into the story of Twitch, for instance, pretty obvious that, I mean, it was not like Twitch was meant to be a great success from day one.
Yeah, it started as Justin.tv, right?
Yes.
I'm interviewing... I'm interviewing the founder soon.
Oh, great. Fabulous.
Do you have anything to say?
No, I mean, it's just like, I mean, they were obviously able to recognize an opportunity when it came.
Yeah.
But they recognized a lot of opportunities that weren't really good opportunities. And I think not like they did great, right? But they were lucky also to, in some respects.
I think probably he will be the first to say that. I mean, enormously, because you had to sort of be the guy catching the wave of live streaming sort of, and there's no way he probably fully understood what that meant or could have foreseen some, Amazon buyout in his future. But yeah, I think so. That's a really great point, is that of course luck is involved, and hugely involved. Let's talk about
like one final thing.
I love this. I love
right,
the
okay,
passion.
so one final thing, right, is that people think that young people are good entrepreneurs, actually, and that's blatantly not true. Actually,
that makes sense.
I just want to sort of insert that because now we're talking about Twitch, and you were mentioning some like Elon Musk, and these all were successful when they were young, right? And a lot of the cast of characters are the same, right? Mark Zuckerberg was very young, dropped out of school. Actually, there's really good evidence to suggest that the most successful founders are in their 40s.
You're right.
45 seems to be a good age to do it. And that makes a lot of sense, right?
It does.
Basically, because that's the point where you actually have some experience, right? You actually know what it's like to work in a company. You might have managerial experience. You might know an industry that you're entering. There's sort of this hype around young people being successful, and that sometimes you'll hear people saying, oh, you don't need industry experience to succeed in an industry. It's actually an asset to not know anything. But it's actually some good evidence also in this, that if you enter an industry with no experience as an entrepreneur, your chances of succeeding are very low.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Of course, right?
Of course.
And the way to think about it probably is that the people who become successful when they're really young would probably also have been successful when they were older, right? So the fact that they become successful at a young age is because they're just incredibly talented and lucky, right? They would have been successful at other points in time too. Most of us need some time to get going. Need to know what we're doing, right?
I think that's so unbelievably important to mention, is that first of all, it makes so much sense. I'm glad you're just giving us the data on, success in entrepreneurship, because I think there is a huge misunderstanding. And I've had this in my mind. I don't think I formally held it, but it's sort of mythologized in our culture to where a lot of people feel this way, even if they don't consciously hold this, that young people are entrepreneurs. That's what you do. Like if you want to be an entrepreneur, you start young, right? You get the failures out of the way. I've definitely probably internalized that. And there is an idea too that you don't need domain expertise. This is a big idea that you can just sort of be Elizabeth Holmes and you can just walk into blood technology and you can just innovate, because that's what Silicon Valley does. Explain to us why we need domain expertise. I mean, I get that it's a bit obvious, but maybe you should just explain.
Well, I mean, again, it depends on the industry, right? But I mean, very often being able to even understand the technology in a given field, right, will be very important. Understanding the business models that underpin a given field is going to be very important very often. Being able to understand the right people to hire will often be very important, and be able to engage in the networks and in the industry culture will often be very important as well, right? I mean, you're trying to compete for the same customers, right? So having industry experience will often let you understand the customers that you're going to be dealing with, right? Or very often we find that people, right, they've worked in a given industry, construction, for instance, and then they develop an innovation that they're going to sell to construction companies, right? Because doing their work, they identify a problem and then they come up with a solution for it that they then sell to their old company, and companies like it, right? So industry experience is going to let you know what are actually the problems in an industry. And all of that is going to be generative, and it's going to help you not just get good ideas, it's also going to help you sort bad ideas from good ideas. Right?
So
finding out what are the low value things as things that are never going to fly.
So what you're telling people is it can help to get that industry experience first, because you're now making money instead of just like floating and probably losing money. You can do that. You can gain industry experience. You can identify a need. You can gain that domain expertise. You identify a need once you have that domain expertise, and then you launch a company later in your life when you're actually more likely to succeed due to you have experience.
Plus, at that point, you will maybe be in a different place financially.
Yes.
Which can also be very important. Like one of the things that I find really depressing is that venture capital will often say that before you ask for venture capital, you should do a friends and family round, right? Which basically means you should ask your parents for money or your friends, right?
It's a very nice way of saying, yeah. Ask
when you're young, you're going to be asking your parents for money, right? And sometimes parents will do that, right? But often, like if you're not coming out of a very wealthy family, they will be giving you their life earnings, right? For your idea. And you can easily imagine how that really is going to strain relationships if you don't succeed, right? There's a real social downside to that. The fact is, if you wait until later, chances are that you will have friends who actually have money, right? And who understand the industry and can help you, not just with money, but also with other things. It also pains me when people like borrow against their house or something like that, right? To persist in a venture. It's very painful, right? As sort of a precautionary principle, if you know that entrepreneurship is really risky, right? You should think about it like buying lottery tickets. You should only bet with house money, so to speak. You should only pay with money that you can avoid to lose, that you don't mind losing.
Yeah.
And you should definitely set hard stops for yourself.
In the sense that you can keep digging. You
can keep digging. You can keep squeezing out more, right? But if you know that entrepreneurial success is really unlikely, you wouldn't do that. If you knew that success was rare, you would treat it, and if you knew that it was like essentially buying a lottery ticket, right? You would treat it differently than if you thought that success was just around the corner. And so that's one of the things that I would sort of push people for, right? Know that it's not very likely to succeed and treat it as such.
Let's talk about entrepreneurship advice. There's this huge entrepreneur industry, which is just like constantly bombarding people with entrepreneurship advice, the blueprint to success, as it were. That's the words I hear a lot. I'm sure that's not an academic term, the blueprint for success, but it does happen all the time. Now, one thing that drives me crazy to no end is that a lot of these things can be true, but sort of not helpful, or like sometimes true, but not always true.
Under very specific circumstances,
right? How do you see entrepreneurship advice helping and hurting people with regards to this sort of entrepreneur identity that people are cultivating?
Okay, so in a couple of different ways, right? I think it's worth just sort of underscoring that point, right? That a lot of the advice you get seems really sensible, sometimes counterintuitive, but sensible sometimes, right?
Let's give some of that advice.
Yeah, so for instance, you should really get comfortable with failure, right? That's like very generic, right? Something surrounding like the minimal viable product, for instance, right? This idea that you should just like try to get something together, put it in front of customers, accept that it's not very good, and try to learn from the experience.
Right.
Other advice, like just pitch, right? Just don't take no for an answer. Try your idea with many investors. If they don't give you money, keep going.
Yep.
Now, all those things, I think, can seem reasonable, right? And it seems to be the case that you can find successful companies that have done that, right? You can also find lots of successful companies that didn't do that. You can find successful companies that did do it, but that wasn't the reason that they succeeded. And you can find lots of unsuccessful companies that did it, right? That did something similar. So if you take something like the minimal viable product, right? There's a way in which telling people to just like try to get something together, put it in front of customers. If they don't like it, right? I mean, I think it's the Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn has this idea that if you're not ashamed of the first version of your product, you're doing it wrong. I think it's important to keep in mind that failure is never good. Sometimes you need to build up a certain tolerance for failure to take risk, right? Yep. But failure is never good.
We should say, just to be clear, it's not good in of itself. I mean, I think a lot of times it's lionized because the examples people are using are successes that are failures that led to future successes. But people can conflate that with like, oh, it means that when I'm failing, this is like a sign of my success. And
I'm doing something right.
Right.
So that's one thing. The other thing is like the pitch to investors, right? And keep pitching if they don't accept your idea, right? Well, you know, there's a way to think about getting rejected by investors, which is that maybe your idea is just bad, right? Maybe that is experience and good judgment telling you that this is not the way to go, right? And maybe persisting, right? There are companies that persist and succeed, but there are also lots of companies that persist and don't succeed. Right? I think that's sort of important to keep in mind, that sometimes you need to take no for an answer, because that is information that you're doing something wrong. And I think generally, like, the whole normalization of failure is actually part of why you can keep people in ventures that are not doing well, right? That saying that failure is part of the recipe and they just need to wait that success is around the corner. I think it's a really counterintuitive way for most people to think, and it's good that it's counterintuitive. You should be more sort of concise about what you mean when you say that failure is good.
Yeah, I think the tricky thing is that for some people that really is how they succeed, is they just keep failing, and they sort of accumulate experience through failure. And I think that's the kind of meaning behind when people say this. But what you're saying is, yes, but there are a lot of people who take that advice, which might be good in a corner case, or in a case of, this person over here. For Reid Hoffman, it might be good with his minimum viable embarrassing product, but it could be really bad for a lot of other entrepreneurs. And you should be smart about taking that advice, or sort of like holding it very loosely, that type of advice.
Yes, you should definitely think about how far am I willing to go? And I think you should commit to that before the fact. This is the amount of time that I will spend trying to get this to work. Because people are going to have different circumstances that allow them to take more or less risk. And it's easy to just sort of get pulled in. This is what economists sometimes call the sunk cost fallacy, right? Or if I spent a year on it, I might as well spend another month, right? And I think that's definitely worth considering. And I mean, some of the advice is much more, technically we'd call it contingent than it's given credit for, right? It might work, but it might also just not work at all. And being smart about when that advice is going to apply is very difficult. And I think, and the basic problem is this, I think, people go to ask for advice because they don't know what to do, right? So they have so if you knew how to gauge the value of the advice, you wouldn't be asking the advice very often. Right?
So by definition, when you get the advice, you are sort of
it's hard to know if it's good
advice.
It's very hard to know if it's good advice when you get it, because if you knew whether it was good advice, you wouldn't be seeking
good advice.
Right?
That's hilarious.
So I think it's very worthwhile to sort of trying to separate yourself, right? The basic thing that you should probably do, I think, is to say, how much time and how much money am I willing to invest in this?
Correct.
And commit to that, right? And say, it might be that success is just around the corner, but I don't know if I can wait that long, right? That's one thing. And then the other thing is to definitely do some work to separate oneself from the hype. To say, okay, I don't care if it worked for Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. What are the chances that this might work for me? And then treat your idea as something that you're trying to prove out that it won't work, so that you can get out, right? Prove out that this is too good of an opportunity to not abandon, right?
Right.
I think that's the way to think about it.
And don't be afraid to pick up some industry experience before you jump into your big idea. I know every idea seems like it's pressing and it has to be done right now. But I think you made a really compelling argument to maybe hold off a bit, get some real world experience before you go launch your entrepreneurship career.
And I mean, like, not every idea is worth dropping out of school for, right? And there's a big difference between dropping out of school because you think it's too easy, right? If you're Mark Zuckerberg and leaving Harvard because you think it's too easy, that's very different from dropping out of pretty much any other school because you think it's not quite relevant. Right?
Yeah,
that's very different. And that's a very different sort of information you're getting about your potential.
And to be very clear, no, absolutely. And to be super clear, you can look at the outcomes of people with degrees, and especially like Ivy educated degrees, and you can look at the difference between that and people who have dropped out. On the list of billionaires, like 30 millionaires and up, it is just overwhelmingly dominated by people who have sunk a bunch of time into their education, regardless of whether you think education's overpriced or not. Yes.
It probably is, but it's also underutilized, I think. If you sort of have the willingness and the drive to become an entrepreneur and to work as hard as some people are for that, I think there's a way to get much more out of college than most people do. But that's a separate discussion. But
sure,
I think that's
I think that's interesting. Underutilized, probably you mean in the sense of how you're using the resource, right?
How you're using the access to people who know something, how you're using the access to networks, how you're using the access to information. I mean,
because there's no shortage of people going to college and just kind of
benefiting as much as they could.
Yes.
Not paying as much attention as they could.
You know what? I think there needs to be a paper about the Veblennian college student, because there's certainly like an identity class of like, oh, I'm just, going to school. That's a separate discussion for a separate time. But
absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things you shot an email about is alternative strategies for people. You talked about Joshua Gans. Have we talked about that yet at MIT?
We haven't. Joshua Gans is at Toronto and has done some interesting work with Scott Stern at MIT. And they basically have a whole series of papers about, you can actually get the book for free. It's online. If you search for entrepreneurial strategy, you will be taken to the website and you get the book for free. It's a really good book. Highly recommend it. One of the reasons that I mentioned that in our pre-discussion was that people sometimes have the impression that disruption is the way to be an entrepreneur, right? Disruption is one of these things, right? You should really go after challenging industries, upsetting the incumbents, things like that. I recommend that book because it's so helpful for thinking about different strategies and often less risky strategies to pursue with ideas, right? There are going to be cases where disruption is probably the right path for an entrepreneur to take, but there are often alternative strategies that are worth considering and testing out that will, like disruption is probably like the most risky thing you could do, right?
Right, you're trying to change.
You're trying to fundamentally change an industry, unseat incumbents and like established firms, like trying to take down Blockbuster, Ford, whichever, like name your industry incumbent, right? And very often that is going to be an incredibly risky strategy for all kinds of obvious reasons. Their work is interesting, I think, because it can probably help people think about the value of doing some things that are less risky, but nonetheless, that are going to be lucrative and interesting for many people, especially if you have industry experience. There are ways to think about any given idea in more or less risky ways.
Do you think there's the reason that we only think largely of, I guess being an entrepreneur in terms of disruption because of the fact that all of the cases that a lot of people immediately think of when they think of like entrepreneur, they think of recent examples where you had this emergent technology that really changed everything and it made disruption very easily possible for, some industries. And so you had these like monsters come out like Facebook, Tesla, all these companies, which it's like, yes. So we always think of those because those are the most, the biggest examples, but maybe the most common example, the examples that actually are bearing out for a lot of people are not the disruptive cases. And that's maybe what you're saying.
Exactly. The thing, like lots of entrepreneurial companies will be faced with the choice of whether to do something that is disruptive and high risk, or maybe something that is not quite as disruptive, more oriented towards what their book calls value chain strategies, where you're basically trying to help other companies do well and succeed, right? That often is something that works best if you actually have industry experience, as we talked about before, because you know the organizations in an industry and you can say, what are the pain points and how can I sort of try to solve those in an interesting way? So I'd highly recommend that for most people to sort of just broaden, like if you want to be an entrepreneur, if that is for you, right? And if you're comfortable with all the risk and all the downsides that we've talked about, right? I definitely encourage people to read that as sort of a way to broaden their imagination about how you can be an entrepreneur. Because there are many, many more ways to do it. And the Silicon Valley model is just one. And it's not going to be the right one for lots of people. It's definitely a very risky one.
I think that's so important. And one thing I want to remind the audience of is that neither myself nor Dr. Hartman are against entrepreneurs.
No, quite the contrary.
Yeah,
the contrary.
this is about getting people to have better outcomes by thinking more critically about being an entrepreneur and what that means, because what your paper kind of compellingly crafts a narrative for is that there's sort of a there's an entrepreneur ideology that sort of a lot of people just sort of buy into, just like the disruptive idea that everyone just sort of thinks, oh, that's the way you start a company. And of course, it's just one of the many ways you could start a company. There are a lot of useful ways to thinking about entrepreneurship that if you're going into it, it is important to know. You have to not just think, only positive thoughts all the time. You have to know the risks. Part of being a successful entrepreneur is understanding and hedging against risk. It is so undervalued. Sorry, I don't just got a little.
That is an excellent summary. I think that's definitely very important, right? To really appreciate, is this for me, right? Like we talked about this, that there is being an entrepreneur has something of trying to be a professional athlete about it, right?
Right.
So that for most people should be a red flag saying, no, I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you are called to do it, right, then you should definitely know the ins and outs of it. And you should think about the different ways that you can approach this. You should know about the kind of things that are really risky and the kinds of things that will get you injured and the things that will push you out of the game, right?
Yeah.
And that will lead you to costs that you don't want to bear. I think that's really important. Because as you say, entrepreneurship is super important, but well-functioning entrepreneurship is even more important. Like the economy does not work without entrepreneurship. We tried economies without entrepreneurship. It was called the Soviet Union and it wasn't great, right? Yeah. So we need entrepreneurship a lot, but we also need it to work well, and we need people to not be misled about what it is and the kinds of risks that are involved, for sure.
And the realities of how to do better at entrepreneurship. I mean, I think the funny thing is you're presenting us with sort of like hard data on what so many other people are promising to make you a better entrepreneur. And you're telling us what entrepreneurship success looks like in the data. And I think that's so important for people who are, in the audience who are interested in that, to really take to heart. So I will link, we will talk about a lot of the papers and the sources you cited for statistics related to success, when you're young or when you're old. We'll talk about, education. We'll have the educational strategy book linked in the show notes. And also, of course, I will be linking the paper, which I found I have cited that paper a bunch of times sort of informally on the channel. And I knew I always wanted to do an interview about it because it holds a near and dear place to my heart. But let's be clear, this is a theory, right? Like this is part of academia, is that you are proposing a theory to fit data that is happening, which is like declining entrepreneur outcomes. Would you like to talk about that a little bit, like hedge a little bit of what we're talking about?
Right. So I think people should read the paper, actually, because what we're doing is we're proposing a way that things might work, right? And there are different interpretations that one could make. What we're suggesting is essentially a hypothesis, right? Mm-hmm. Academic production is such that you often have what's called a conceptual paper, which lays out an idea, and then you have empirical studies that basically present data, right? And we're in the process of beginning those the data collection, but I'm producing different hypothesis papers, and this is one, right? The paper that you can find online now is not published yet, so it hasn't been through peer review. The peer-reviewed version will be out by summer. It has been accepted for a journal which is called Research in the Sociology of Organizations, but that will come out. And when you say when you talk about hard data, I should say this is not data that we have collected. This is data from other studies, just sort of to be clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the interpretation that we're offering is also not is not proven out by data, and it's not a widely accepted view, right? I mean, there's quite a lot of consensus that entrepreneurial quality is declining. It's not a unanimously held view, but it's pretty close. So that is sort of a real thing. The idea that the linking of the entrepreneurship ideology to the entrepreneurship industry to declining entrepreneurial quality is sort of that's our
theoretical,
idea.
right?
That's
yeah.
our idea, and it's conjecture. I think we'd
Yeah.
say, right?
Yeah.
So just
absolutely.
to be clear.
No. I appreciate it. I appreciate how careful you are, and I think that's an important part of any kind of if you're going to be in academia, that's part of your job, right? Is to tell people like what's settled, what's not, and I appreciate you doing that. Dr. Hartman, thank you so much for